Peace, peace, peace. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. This is your brother, Aboriginal Power. Hopefully, everybody is enjoying their grand rising. You know, we got a nice lit day for us today. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be one of them ones. It's going to be one of them ones. We're going to have a lot of people in today. We got a special guest coming in later on this evening. Y'all going to definitely want to hear the announcements on that. So make sure y'all tune in, man. Let's start this thing off proper with the intro. Let's get it. Shout out to all the American Aborigines.
Whatever it takes. It's Halle. Just say when. Just say when. Just say when. Just say when. I gotta feed the block, fuck with it, you ain't gon' lose his top, yeah. All the time that I lost, I'm watching both hands on top of the clock, yeah. My niggas, they say I'm the one, I had to believe inside I'm a pop, yeah. I got a voice inside, they tell me to live, and I can't stop, yeah. Just say when.
I'm waiting for you
Just say when.
I'm waiting for you
Just say when.
I'm waiting for you
Just say when.
waiting.
Roll now, it's watching it go down. I don't feel like I'm whole now. All the love that I get from the whole town, yeah, we know that it's up now. Thank God that we moved from whole pounds, we be rocking them shows now. Paranoid that I got from a past life, got me gripping the 4 pound. One life I was living before now, now we breaking the dough down. Same pain that's inside of my heart, nigga, on God I won't fold now. Shine light, gotta shine on the whole crowd, show the world how to glow now. God body what I'm giving the world now, cause I'm showing my son how. Gotta move and think like AK. Gotta move and think like AK. Gotta move and think like AK. Like AK, yeah. I gotta feed the block, fuck with it, you ain't gon' lose his top, yeah. All the time that I lost, I'm watching both hands on top of the clock, yeah. My niggas, they say I'm the one, I had to believe inside I'm a pop, yeah. I got a voice inside, they tell me to live, and I can't stop, yeah. Just say when. Just say when. Just say when. Just say when.
Waiting.
Just say when.
I'm waiting for you
Just say when.
I'm waiting for you
Just say when.
I'm waiting
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Drop some fire emojis out there. Shout out to all the American Aborigines. I know the vibe. We just getting it together, man. Make sure you hit that like button, man. We just getting started.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Share the live stream, support the live
gotta pay
stream.
attention.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. I want to send my love and bliss to each and every one of you guys. Peace and blessings.
Feelings from the past, yeah, you gotta pay attention. They won't say my name, but they put it in a mention. Too much sneak dissing, yeah, we need an intervention. Right before the fall, I swear my niggas, they won't listen. Right before the fall, you took them pills, you got addicted. Right before the fall, you run your mouth, you turn to dentist. Free my niggas in the cage, know that shit get lonely. You was with me from the start, but you did me phony. Look my bitch right in the eyes, tell her she my only. Poppin' shit on Instagram, they don't even know me. Had to turn my savage up to turn me to the old me. Killers moving silent, so I gotta kill them softly. Lie better, little baby, but lie better. You playing the other side on God out. Trendsetter, no talking, I did better. They watching my moves, slide my moves. I did let up, I kept it aside. Niggas get shifty, I dead something, I'm moving around. Had to get to it, this bread, something they want me to drown. Remember they told me I was nothing, I've been through some things. On God, baby, I can't run it. Feelings from the past, yeah, you gotta pay attention. They won't say my name, but they put it in a mention. Too much sneak dissing, yeah, we need an intervention. Right before the fall, I swear my niggas, they won't listen. Right before the fall, you took them pills, you got addicted. Right before the fall, you run your mouth, you turn to dentist. Free my niggas in the cage, know that shit get lonely. You was with me from the start, but you did me phony. Look my bitch right in the eyes, tell her she my only. Poppin' shit on Instagram, they don't even know me. Had to turn my savage up to turn me to the old me. Killers moving silent, so I gotta kill them softly. Do better, you said that you do better. These niggas playing at 50, I really got moved better. I got these on my block, I can't play round. I position on my life, I can't play round. We gon' get it back in blood if they stay round. Know them niggas off the drugs, they gon' lay down. down. I was love, you put me right in the middle. That niggas that screaming gang and niggas that wanna kill you. They got feelings from the past, pay attention. They only sending shots cause these niggas want attention. Won't be no RIP, heli in the mention. Putting threats on my name, make me turn them to a pension. Feelings from the past, yeah, you gotta pay attention. They won't say my name, but they put it in the mention. Too much sneak dissing, yeah, we need an intervention. Right before the fall, I swear my niggas, they won't listen. Right before the fall, you took them pills, you got addicted. Right before the fall, you run your mouth, you turn to dentist. Bring my niggas in the cage, know that shit get lonely. You was with me from the start, but you did me phony. Look my bitch right in the eyes, tell her she my only. Poppin' shit on Instagram, they don't even know me. Had to turn my savage up to turn me to the old me. Killers moving silent, so I gotta kill them softly.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We're gonna finish this thing up with some proper jammy jams. We got 1 or 2 more jammy jams we're gonna get right into, man. I need everybody to hit that like button and let's get down.
Whatever it takes.
That's my family in the building. Y'all support the channel, man. You gotta get the likes up. Let's get the likes up.
Feel nothing at all. For my pain, it don't feel nothing at all. Yeah. Yeah, for my pain, it don't feel nothing at all. For these niggas, now ain't nothing but God. I had to move around with nothing but frauds. I tried to bring the team together, get my vision involved. I gave a plan, but niggas scrambled. It's time to pick up that call. We can't get 1,500 in a 6-week span. Time to pay up, everybody goes, I be down. I should've seen it. All I got is Rain, Slim, Tim, you know it's Teach. I got Tay and I got Leaf. I got Deja and Salih. I got Foreign, they got Feet. They say your name, that's cause you preach. Them niggas folded under heat. No umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, just stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. You ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah, my nigga, then just say it. Let it rain down. Let it rain down. Right, this shit crazy. Yeah. We gotta weather the storm. If you don't understand, get better informed. I'm from the trench, and my trust really weathered and torn. With my niggas from the sandbox, trying to put this shit on top some water, but we playing live. We all want the same shit, but can't get on the same page. How bad do y'all really want it? Niggas just be saying things, replacing with y'all lives now. Everything that I pipe down. Yeah, I was chilling for a minute, but I'm live now. Niggas talking about the past, come get with me right now. Come and really see my grind. Come and see me live now. I'm live now. I'm live now. Come and see me live now. Ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. My nigga, then just say it. You ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah, ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. You ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Let it rain down. Yeah. My nigga, did you say it? You my brother, did you say it? Let it rain down. Let it rain down.
Got everybody in the building. Hopefully everybody's feeling right. We'll get into one more intro before we get out of here. We're gonna get into one more intro song, man. It's the last one. Let's get right into it, man. We already scoring the touchdown, man. It's the one.
Who they depend on?
That's all American.
Who they depend on?
Another scoreboard, man. Peak the scoreboard, man. We up on everywhere, man. Aboriginal.
Who they depend on? I'ma go get a bag if it's me. I'ma bust down the pack if it's me. I'ma bust down the trap if it's me. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, nigga, like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the dirt. Who they depend on? I'ma go get a bag if it's me. I'ma bust down the trap if it's me. I'ma bust down the trap if it's me. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, nigga, like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the dirt. I got my pieces in spot where I want them. I got these bitches on call when I want them. I got some niggas who trap when I want them. Play with your bitch, you don't play with my brother. MT baby, I put it together. They on my body, I put it together. Two battle bitches, they going together. Baby gon' suck me and fuck up, I let them. Watch me smoke with a bitch, you ain't clever. Ran through that bitch cause she thought she was special. Those on bitches who dance with the devil. He got a back cause he thought of him dead. The clip on the gun that I got him in daddy. Mention my name in the scenes with pressure. 24K, no, I vetted them better. 24K, what I put on the bezel. Missing my flavors and missing my fabrics. Valentino wanna cook with the cabbage. Trying to put me out on the atlas. Independent, what I'm keeping my status. I got the pain inside of the boat. I brought the ice from out of the dough. I got a chain, my brick in the door. My wrist got a bang, Chris, you don't know. I'm who they depend on. I'ma go get a bag, it was me. I'ma bust down the pack, it was me. I'ma bust down the trap, it was me. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, niggas like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the dirt. Who they depend on. I'ma go get a bag, it was me. I'ma bust down the trap, it was me. I'ma bust down the trap, it was me. Scoring the end zone. Running me plays, niggas like I'm hurt. All of this money hit them where it hurts. You know the mission, put them in the
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hopefully everybody can hit them like buttons. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. It's very important for you guys to share the live stream, man. We only got 68 likes and we got 100 people in here. Come on, family. We got to do better than that when it comes to these likes, though. Come on, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Y'all support the channel, man. Support the channel. You heard? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We lit in here already, man. I need y'all just to drop them fire emojis and get them likes up to at least 80, man. We need to be 80 likes up right now. We need to be 80 likes up right now, man. If you're a proud Aborigine, make sure you hit that poll. Let me know how y'all feel, man. So, man, shout out to all the American Aborigines. Shout out to all the Aborigines around the planet, man. Wherever you are residing at, what land are you connected to? Shout out to you guys, man. We about to get this thing cracking early, man. It's free smoke. We dropping the link early, man. But before I get into that, man, I'm going to shout out everybody that's in the building. So I'm going to take my time out to shout out everyone that took their time out to come comment in the chats. Also, shout out to the brothers and sisters that is tuning in to this live stream that's not able to comment in the chat due to you driving, traveling, being at work on your daily commute. Make sure y'all be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, and stay dangerous. All right. It's your brother Aboriginal Power. We sending love from the Aboriginal community to you and wherever you at, man. So let's get to it, man. Drop them fucking fire emojis, man. What's the vibes, gang? We got the whole gang in here today, man. I'm gonna give my special announcements here in a second. We're gonna get to it. Shout out to Never Hungry Again, Son of California, Ghetto Child Clinic, Yanetta Ya, a Rising Aboriginal, Jamel, Chief Serpentine, the Snake Guy, Ern Jordan, December's very own, Big Block, Samantha White, Yanetta Ya, Darius Matthews, Ghetto Child Clinic, Sister Betty, Copper Color Goddess, Darvis Bay, like my big brother Hawk School, Shot Alpha, Patrick Gabriel, Miko, Real Talk, C. Roberts, Leonidas, Real N-Word, Alive, Anawaia, Nike 903, Truth Over Everything, Rodney Lewis, Career Choices, Mother of Dragons, Roger W, Indigenous Minds, Easy Truth Be Told, aka Juan Torres. Shout out to Honey Hug. We got Coppertone in the building, Babel, D3D, Rodney Gilmore. We got Michelle Norton. We got YFG 314 in the building, Bright Modizi, Yezel 618. Shout out to you in the building. We got Royal and Loyal, Son of California. We got Yizzle 618. Who else we got on this thing? A Chief Serpentine and Shiny. Shout out to you. We got Jeremy Royster. We got Morelicious Visuals in the building. We got Smoke Signal in the building. We got Matt Cray 1000 in the building, man. So shout out to everybody that's locked in, man. Shout out to Roger W. I don't know if I shouted some of you guys out twice, but we just going through the line. Shout out to JR Bill, Bronze Flat Power, Jaja in the building. Shout out to y'all, man. Eastside 1415 in the motherfucking building, man. Shout out to everybody that's in here. Jersey Williams. All right, shout out to you, Jersey. Good to see you in here. Hey, Certified Sanchi, what up, gang? You already know, man. It's a Tennessee thing, man. Truth be told, what's up with it? Shout out to Steve Coakley. Now I gotta watch intensely. Thank you for keeping my name warm. You already know, bro. You already know, bro. You already know, man. Reparations now, 314 in the building. Circular and mention. Excuse me. Shout out to you. We're gonna make sure we getting this thing cracking today. Just gonna be getting this thing cracking today. Can I get some fire emojis in this thing, man? I'm gonna say happy grand rising, happy wake and bake. Can I get a happy wake and bake back from you guys? Happy wake and bake. Shout out to the American Aborigines, man. We lit in here today, man. We got. I want all smoke. Y'all see the title? We are not Indians. We are more than that. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I don't think nobody disagree with that. Yeah, man. I see a lot of people putting the reparations conversation in the chat. That's something we definitely need our cheese for shit show. We definitely need our cheese. Shout out to Copper Colored Jazz in the building. What's up, Copper Colored Jazz? Good to see you in here, beautiful. All is well. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. If y'all are not subscribed to Big Aboriginal Power yet, make sure y'all run and subscribe to the channel right now, man. Make sure y'all run and subscribe to the channel right now, man. So shout out to everybody in the building. Happy Wake and Bake, man. Y'all know it's tradition where we light up the backwoods. We get straight into the information. So I'm not even gonna hold you niggas up, man. Shout out to my family, and I mean niggas in the most endearment, strong word as I can possibly put together. Haru, the Duke of Great Lakes. What's going on, brother? What's going on, brother? Negro out the trenches. What up, fam? What up, fam? So yeah, let's get it. Light my word up. Hopefully y'all doing the same. Alrighty then, man. Y'all see the title, man. Let me get this link and drop this motherfucker in the chat. It's lit. So yeah, man, at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. At 6 o'clock today, I will be putting up the reminder and the up and coming show for the day. I will be making it public so you guys can go and hit that link. Today at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're gonna have Dr. Norco Longo, aka Old World Florida, coming through with the brother Aboriginal Power, man. We're gonna chop it up, we're gonna build, we're gonna get it in. So shout out to Old World Florida, man. His information, man, he been really going through and chopping up and breaking down some shit. I do got a few series of questions I want to ask. You know, I ask all the tough questions. Y'all know this. All the questions y'all want to ask, all the shit, make sure y'all leave them at the comment section at the end of this video, man. We'll get in there and I'll highlight, and I will take some of the most asked and maybe the most intriguing questions that I see in the comment section. So after the video, y'all get in the comment section, and don't forget, you see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So y'all know the vibes, man. It's gonna be one of them ones tonight. It's going down. We're gonna be chopping it up about Florida. We're gonna be chopping it up about the rest of the United States and how all this information usurps and connects to the Aboriginal indigenous people. Now, so we're gonna get into some perspectives because we ain't really heard, you know what I'm saying, his perspective on certain particular topics. So, you know, I'm gonna ask, you know, the tough questions got to be asked. Can we get that 2-pack everything they owe? Can we get, what are you talking about, David Bill? Pop in. Hey, the link is in the chat too, man. Y'all come chop it up with Big Al, man. Y'all see the smoke, man. Hey, Hawk School, what's going on, bro? What's up with the smoke, man? I've been seeing friction in a few places, man. What's up with it? Is there some smoke somewhere? Let's get it, man. Real hawks don't fly with pigeons, man. Or quails. Some of you niggas ain't even pigeons. Y'all like quails. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all like quails. You know, we don't wanna, you know what I'm saying, jump to conclusions, but listen, man. Hey, y'all gonna wanna be there today, man, for the show, man. And I need y'all to support the channel too. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Thumb up the video. It's very, very important for you guys to hit that like button. And if you can share it on your social media outlets, please do so. Shout out to Terrence Slaughter and Greedy Vegan, who just entered the building. Shout out to Patrick Gabriel and David Bell as well. Shout out to the rest of you brothers who tuning in, who not able to chat. Shout out to you guys, man. We got a fire show coming up. We about to get into this conversation that at hand that y'all see the title, man. We ain't even got to talk about it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna be about it. Hey, so we're gonna get straight into it, man. We got a OG around this motherfucker on here. We got Chief Morning Thunder in this thing. What's up, Sister Bethy? How you doing?
I'm good. And I really want you to help me with this question. I'm glad Hawk is up here too.
Hawk ain't up here yet.
Oh, well, I want your real, honest, personal opinion about this. Your question, we are not Indians. And I want you to help me out with this one because I'm struggling with that ad power, honestly. Now, I I can't say we're aboriginals just based on the definition. That's a fact with me. But to say we're not Indians, and maybe you can make help me understand it a bit more. At the time, this is what I see, and I could be wrong. At the time that they created the Constitution, and during the time when they were when they ratified um, the Constitution and the admission process, where the Indians began admitting their lands in each of the states, whatever, however that process was. At that time, you don't believe that we were the Indians because at that time there was really no smoke. And we weren't um citizens as of yet, but acknowledged as being the Indians in the Constitution for the sake of Indians not taxed. And that's only in one area in the very beginning of the Constitution because we allowed them to build these 13 colonies on our lands. And it seems to me that there was a meeting, and because they know that the colonizers, the way that they was running the world, it needed to be taxation. And in doing so, they said, well, yeah, we're going to tax, but we can't tax the Indians. So let's make this clear now. Indians are not taxed. So I want to hear what you think that might be because I really don't have all the answers.
That's
I
a
really don't.
very that's a very long and complex question, which I'm gonna do my best to do it in a to break it down in a nutshell. But I believe that particular question needs its own particular live stream dedicated to the breakdown that it needs to have. But with that being said, in the 1776, right, which is ultimately when this nation became when this place became a country, recognized as the United States of America, right? We got to understand the Declaration and this particular Constitution was maybe, and I'm agreeing to you that it was collected and constructed by Aboriginal Indigenous people, but at the same time, these Aboriginal Indigenous peoples became sellouts. So that's why you seeing it being borrowed. That's why you seeing these contracts. That's why you seeing these meetings. Now, what I'm saying is, at that same time that certain people is being called Indians, another group of people is being called Indians too, and it's being formulated. And it was documented and established in the 1800s. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, certain other people was being moved away from this particular birthright of being Aboriginal, and that started to be a separation in the mid 1800s. Do you understand what I'm saying? So what we're looking at is ultimately, I'm not arguing with the word Indian. I'm just saying we're more than that. And if you can't understand that, then I'm gonna have to break that down to you. So when I ask you, are we black? Can I ask you that question? Are we black? Are we considered black? Are we black people?
I don't think that we're well because for the sake of them seeing us that way, I have to say they're referring to us when they say black over here. But um
I'm saying, are we black people just as much as
no,
are we Indians?
no.
Okay, so that's where our confusion come in at. You see what I'm saying? So if we're gonna harness these terms and we're gonna look at the crimes and we're gonna be able to witness what these people done, you can't deny the facts that your people are black people.
Right.
whether
I
you
get
like
it.
the term or not.
I
Whether you
get
like
it.
it or not. As a matter of fact, there's more your bloodline, neighbors' bloodline, family's bloodline, and friends' bloodline and descendants that are claiming to be black more than they're claiming to be Indian.
Okay. Yep.
So
I understand that.
so by forfeit, this lets you know something corrupt has happened. If you're not born with native tongue and native culture and native garbs and doing native spirituality since birth, you got to go and look for your particular native or aboriginal culture, and you got to find what tribe you come from. You got to look for this particular information. That lets you know again more corruption has been done. So we have the embodiment of picking and choosing, and this is where it leads to contention, because one person will pick or accept to choose or
I
accept.
can't hear.
Let's just say the word Indian. Some people accept the word Indian, but then deny the word black, and some people accept the word black and then deny the word Indian, not knowing that certain, let's just say, Indian history shows that certain Indians was misclassified, became citizens. They classifications was changed. They was eradicated on paper. This is facts. What was the terms and classifications that these once was Indians are now being called? And once you get into what those terms is, you will understand that the term black in Indian means it's talking about the same people. Now, does they have different standing in law? Yes. But do black have standing in law? Yes. Now, is it beneficiary or not? So these are the questions that we have to ask. So just to sum over that, we can get into a list of other terms of knowledges that we call ourselves that I might not agree with that we should be called, but these are actual factual terms that we were called. And once we get into the basis of stop being so emotionally attached based off a lot of our work, a lot of our time being spread to one particular uh to
So
one. Go ahead.
so Ab, before I jump off, so when they wrote that Indians not taxed in the Constitution, you don't believe they were referring to us? Is it fair to say that you don't think that they were referring to us?
Well, if we believe that the true blacks people of America, right, and the Africans didn't come here, and that the people who own land here were in fact Aboriginal people, we can look at just the simple facts of how these people were being taxed. And this is how they become into debt, and this is how they become sharecrop holders, sharecroppers, and this is how they become getting rid of their land, ultimately to get them out of debt and to make some type of profit because they have ragged land or land that was not suitable. So yeah, you have various different situations where so-called blacks or aboriginals are being taxed.
And do you think that's a result? Do you think that that is a
And
result of
let's
us not
let's
using
let's
that
get a clear
identity?
date on let's get a clear date on when they started taxing particular people in general in the United States or in America, North America. Do we got a date on that?
I could look it up really quickly, but
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Right. I don't know right off the top of my head neither. I just want to get a date for that so before I, go in more on this particular topic. If anyone to come in, make sure y'all stay muted. Make sure y'all stay muted up till we get around to your name. We don't want any feedback. Shout out to the Incredible Hulk. We got Indigenous Mind, Smoke Signal, and Willie Jones on here. I want to say peace and blessings to you, brothers. We also have Morelicious Man.
Grand
Shout out to you.
Rising.
Okay, it's
Grand
saying the
Rising,
federal
everyone.
income tax
UT,
was
Beth.
created in A. Ab, it's saying the federal income tax was created in 1861.
1861. Perfect. So the federal tax, which under that law, Indians wouldn't be taxed, correct? That would be the only
Correct.
time that Indian not tax be applied is when federal tax is banned applied, right? So that happened we got a date of 1860. In 1860, the indigenous peoples had been classified in at least two different times. They gave up tribal rule. They became citizens, especially for those that did not make their way into designated government Indian land that we call Oklahoma today. All right. So the majority of those people stayed, which gave up their jurisdiction, gave up their tribal rule, and put them directly into United States citizens threshold. This is how they. This is how Indians became taxed, even though they weren't supposed to.
So do you think that by us not correcting our status is we'll still keep suffering that, or do you think when we correct our status and then it will apply to us?
That's a good question. I've seen it. I've seen it being operated. There's brothers that corrected their status, right? And I believe they're operating under a no tax dominion. They're not being taxed. Uh,
The
so
only
yeah,
way I know of non-taxed by the federal government is the 501c3 process, and that's
but
for
see, I'm not,
anybody.
and that's usually for any Indians on document. Most of the time, I think that's for federal. Because there's Indians that's still been taxed because they're not federally uh, recognized. So they're not
Recognized.
avoid. They don't have an avoidance of it. So, but what I'm saying is that I'm willing to say, fuck it. I'm not taxed, even though I'm an Indian. I'm not even recognized as an Aborigine no more, or as what my nation state was no more. And I have the data to prove who did it and what they did.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You can't do
Yes.
that and ask for these particular remedies and class actions if you're not holding on to what you was misdone with. You got to have the shit that was done wrong to you. You got to have that particular uh, thing that says, look, this was the crime uh, that was committed.
Yes. Yes.
And one of those
Okay.
things is our classification, and the people fail to realize that. This is why majority of your people are not claiming to be Indian or Aboriginal. They're claiming to be black. They're claiming to be African American.
So you feel that if we correct that, it will apply to us. That's that
No, I
federal
don't. I
tax.
think. I think that's been tainted. I think what we have to do is bring up this particular crime, and then we have to bring it and show. Look, this has been tainted. Our name Indian has been tainted. Aboriginal, our true nation shit has been tainted. Now we must formulate a new term
Hmm.
that our descendants must go by, and this must be backed up by law. And those people that claim this title, that is bloodline of this particular title that we construct, is not taxed. We're no longer going to use the old term of knowledge, which is tainted. Because there's
Okay.
not just you or Negroes or my people exclusively that is classified as an Indian right now. There's people of
Mhm.
all other races classified as Indian. To the point that you got Asians, East Indians, and even pale skinned European Caucasians.
Okay.
Not
All right.
only not only are they claiming to be Indian, they getting benefits as being Indian, while the true indigenous and autonomous people are getting
Not
eradicated.
right. I agree. I
So
agree.
no, we those terms that Indian not tax, it's already been applied. It's an act of use. People are actually abiding by that, but it applies to not just one group of people. And I believe I don't want to share anything that belongs to my people with any other people. Once again,
I oh okay. Well, I I
'cause I know for a
understand.
fact that East Indians from India come here and they're not taxed, and they get $1 million credit line as well.
Well, ch- I mean, I, oh well, I respect your your understanding of it. I do. I just I don't know. I just feel that if we don't, because we have not made the effort to correct our status and be acknowledged as the Indians of this land or Aboriginals, or just for the sake of it applying to us from that Constitution, that we probably would benefit from it too. But they
There was
just
multiple constitutions that obviously our people benefit and utilize, not just the Iroquois nations uh constitution. You know what I'm saying? You, before that, you got the Algonquin Constitution. You got various different nations' constitution. Then you got state constitutions, which was around long before the law of the land or the federal constitution.
right. I
So
agree.
So, I just think we got to look at. I think we get horned up and stuck on a particular title, and we become emotionally valued and connected to it. And when someone started to move on or point out the chinks in it, some people often get emotional with it, not realizing that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are put their work into it, and ultimately, when someone has their work attached to something and they feel like it works for them, and someone else says otherwise, you see what I'm saying? People will react within a way as if they've been personally attacked. You see what I'm saying? And we have to get out of that, because there's going to be times and things that, as future and as days go on, new research and constant research is going to bring new data that may even move certain understanding perspectives totally out the way, where they will not be efficient.
Mm.
So we just got to keep that in mind. Stay, stay optimistic. Keep your glass half full, half empty.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Ab.
Not
I
a problem,
appreciate
Mr.
it.
Becky. You already know how we work.
Yes.
So yeah, man, we got a couple brothers on the panel, man. I'm gonna let y'all get to it, man, one at a time, man. Respectfully, state your name and what you want to talk about, man. We on here with it.
Hey, this is Negro right here. I wanted to add to when I came on, I kind of understand what you saying, Ab, and what Bethy is saying. Once you know that to be dragged through the mud and not have nothing to look towards, when you got everything taken from you, and you need something to look towards. Like Indian was a culture back then, and people practice it, but then other people moved on, and then we have it right now, speeding up to where you talking about, Al, like we should just, like, you know what I'm saying, I've been feeling, abandon it all, because we greater than that. Those are different period of times that our people had did, but we know before that our people didn't practice no Indian culture or nothing like that. Not Indian culture, not in the sense what we see on TV, but we practice a culture, but it wasn't titled no Indian. That just started in the 1800s. All these grand verbalizer words, these spells they didn't put on us, and that's why I said earlier on another chat channel, like, what I'm saying, we just need to stop all the misnomers, black, Indian, and just get to who our greater essence is, powerful people, because they didn't play it on us. They did us
Right.
wrong. They did it. They played on us, and it was time, we just can't just adapt to this and that, because that's going to create division, because we know our whole heart is in being a Moor, being black, being African American, being Pan-African, being Muslim, nation, being all these titles. And we know for 100 years we're not protected, because certain events that happen to by default, we waking up. The arrogance of what we seeing from other people coming over here, how they really just fucked up the land. Because I feel some type of way when I see somebody spit on the sidewalk or contaminate the water or do anything to the land. I feel some type of way, but I know, and then I look at the next person doing it, I said, damn, this person must not be attached to this land. But then another time I see my people that I know doing some things though, but at the end of the day, I don't want nobody defiling my land, because this is my ancestors' land. I got to grow. My children got to grow on this land. We got to drink the water, and there's people over here contaminating that, and they doing
Right.
it by intentions, willfully act, and we got to put it. And at the end of the day, it's a crisis. So I'm with you, Ab, when he said, man, forget that, man. We greater than that. We just got to just, man, fuck, we go ground zero and start all over again. We don't give a fuck what's at hand right now, because it's a crisis, it's critical. We just need to start all over. And if we got to do an identity thing first, you know, we need to speed that up. If we got to change our identity to one class, you know, we need to do that and not be taxed, because we should know by now that we don't supposed to be taxed at all. But they still got us in these forms that we file in paperwork. That's why I asked Bethy earlier, like I said, do you still pay taxes? But she's put it like not in tribal, but in her personal. But I'm just saying, you know, we have to find a resolution right now to our identity, because it's an identity crisis to some that, you know, affected, like me, Negro. And I know before Negro, it was color. And before color, it was Indian. On documents, on the legal, there is a black law, but black is not identity. And that's what we need to be clear about. Black is not identity, but it is law. It is a black law. And we need to understand law and the legalese and how to litigate when we addressing these people, you know, when we in the corporate world of doing business, because they got us beat by that, because what they did to us from the root cause, put an anti-literacy law on us. So that dummy us down for a century. But I'm talking about as a whole. I know some of us more advanced and we catch on that, you know, you got some that's more advanced than others. But at the end of the day, God gave us, our Creator gave us senses, gave us 5 senses. I may not be able to express it, but I don't think I don't feel it or know it, or don't you know what I'm saying, don't have no understanding to it, or just know that it's not, you know it's there. And that's the language that you cannot destroy, is the universe of having your senses of knowing it, but you may not know how to express it, but you know it. You know that you know it's there and it's affecting you in a negative way. And I feel that everything that's been going on for the past last year, the year before that, even with this, man, it go back. The whole first 2000 started, but we're just gonna go back this 2 years. You know what I'm saying? It's just been one thing after another. But I'm okay as an individual though. But I'm seeing a lot when I go downtown LA, Skid Row. I see Tent City, so I know something ain't right. And then I see these foreigners over here talking about, oh, I'm gonna get a bus and move these people that's in the tent, move them to another spot, and ain't trying to solve the real issue of that. But they just like, we just tired. I'm just, as an individual, I'm tired of all the shenanigans, all the misnomers, all that, you know. And I'm with the Bible. I'm not looking for no spook, nothing out of the sky, nothing to help me to solve my issue what I got on this earth. I know that I have to do it, and my people's got to do it as a whole. And that's all I'm just trying to bring us as a whole, get a common sense, because common sense is not so common these days. So we need to get get back to the principles of building solidarity over again. I said that a couple of years ago. I said we got to rebuild solidarity to the point that we remove all doubts about each other, so we can move accordingly. And I land my plane.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, bro, for coming on and dropping that heat, man, dropping your wisdom on how you feel about this topic, man. I appreciate that. That's all we ask for, bro. Anybody else want to get it in on pertaining to the topic, man? We're going to stay with the topic, man.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? Hey, peace to the tribes, peace to the family. You know what I'm saying? Hey, whenever we on board, it's a real family reunion. You know what I'm saying? So, but on the title, man, you know, as far as our classification, you know, even in Daniel Webster dictionary, he already stated that what Americans used to apply, who it used to apply to, and then who it then applied to in that current state that it applied to the children of the Europeans. So it used to apply to us, but now it applies to them. And it's mighty odd, even for Daniel Webster himself, who was called who's called Black Dan as a descriptive term. You know what I'm saying? So this is just another one of those, you know, when the history that we get it from them. So they are telling us. And I know for a fact that after the Civil War, 1870s, white Southerners worked diligently to rewrite history, American history.
Right, what they call the Reconstruction period.
And me, I like to study free Negroes up and down the United States. And this is a lot of free Negroes with rich American history for them to tell us who these people are. And actual reality, they are removing these people off the land. And it's not just, being done by like some mysterious, oh, we getting tricked. No, they were killing people. It was all out war. And if you watch some of these Civil War clips and watch some of these Civil War veterans, they telling you that, hey, it's still a war going on. You'll see Klansmen marching up and down the street. The war is against us. But when it comes to titles, we all them people. So if you get so butthurt about somebody saying, hey, I'm more, or, we all that shit. We created most of our African, a Pan-African is an indigenous makeup. That shit ain't from Africa. That's from America. Some niggas in America just decided, hey, I want to be a freaking Pan-African. That's American shit. Because we still searching, or people still searching for an identity when we need to realize, hey, we at home, baby. We here.
Okay, but indigenous minds. I'm gonna say this. You say one thing in one breath, right? And say we're artists and we're all these names. But then you bust out and say you want to be butthurt for more. Well, that's the problem right there. A lot of people in our community, Aboriginal, Indian, whatever community, don't want to be identified as that. And I think that's the big breakup and the big split in this community is because of the simple fact that Moors keep trying to push this title on us when they can't respect the fact that we don't want to be identified as that.
Well, that's
half of us do and half of us don't.
But that goes both ways. And like he said, it becomes an emotional state of mind
and half of us don't.
And that's because when people learn something new, for some reason they get so emotional about this new something. Just like how Christians back in the day, when your people was growing up being Christian, you couldn't tell them nothing else other than being a Christian. You couldn't talk to these people, get stuck in their ways. So we are trying to unravel and undo all the knots that's been put in place. And that. This is what we're doing every day. And it's going to be a battle.
That could be successfully done.
Well, I just feel like
you're more. That's humiliating.
Well, I feel like
it's threatening to me. I can respect it, but don't push it down my throat. I think that's wrong.
No, that's true though. I don't feel like nobody should be pushing nobody's identity over on anybody. I just feel like that it goes both ways. The same way an indigenous brother or Aboriginal that claim more don't want you don't want to be called that. They might not want to be called Indian, or vice versa. A Black American who's really indigenous to this land might not want to be called an Aborigine. You see what I'm saying? And it works in vice versa. But what we have to do is break it down to them, because they're all confused if they're screaming that. It's all the same people. These are different classifications in terms of knowledge that was placed on people at different time frames. And so, and under certain conditions as well. So what we got to understand is that it's all of us. We can't say, but that we not none of it, but we don't need nobody telling you that you is any of it. You can identify with what you need to identify as. And once you identify as that, they should know how to be kosher and meet you on common grounds from which we all understand. But I don't think people are understanding yet. Like I said, I'm willing to give time. I'm very patient. You understand me? I'm very, very patient. And people sometimes will catch up, and it'll just be an aha moment or I told you moment for me. You see what I'm saying?
And another thing that we have to, change our ways as the people sometimes, because it's just like, man, if I'm from the West Coast and somebody from the East Coast, we people of the same, from the same roots, but we all classify ourselves or identify as something else. Somebody gonna be on this gang, and somebody gonna be another gang. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna be I'm from the South, or I'm from the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we are. And we get so caught up into the semantics when we miss the real bread that's being dropped. You know what I'm saying? So it's a growing process.
I want to move on and let a couple other people, because this is a good conversation. I appreciate Willie Jones, Indigenous Mouse, and Sister Betty for giving their thoughts and opinions and observation on this particular topic. This is a great conversation. I want to say shout out to everybody that is in the panel. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Make sure y'all drop them fire emojis. Please, let's get these likes up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Also, if you want to support the channel, man. Y'all can support the channel. Moderators can drop that in the chat for the family that do want to support. We're going to move on with a couple of brothers that's on here. They want to get to the conversation. We're going to move on to the incredible Hawk. Shout out to Hawk School. Real Hawks don't fly with pigeons. I'm going to let you get to it. We're going to move on from Hawk. I don't think Hawk School is in the building with us today. So we're going to move on. Darvis Baylock, would you like to build on the particular topic at hand?
Peace. I understand the topic, man, and a lot of times, man, like my man said earlier, man, we so attached to these particular terms. All right, and a lot of these terms apply. Don't get me wrong. But once we deal with history, right, we go back into history, we can say that there was one time we were doing good. One time we were doing bad. One time our families were divided. At one time we were all together. A lot of these things happen based on wars. All right, so our main issue, we got so divided because of these wars. And we got so separated from our source of information. So we don't really deal with history. A lot of deal with these particular subjects, such as religion and history and nationality. Now, but when we start talking about civics, though, making moves in law, we have to understand the gratification of these titles that we apply to ourselves when it comes down to what they call law. Our ancestors, they understood this. They came up with these different systems. They called themselves something when they were great. Before they were great, they were also called something. We got to find out these names and apply them to ourselves, because we can't go back and grab our heritage if we call ourselves something other than what our ancestors called themselves. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you on that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's very important. Now, as far as what you decide to call yourself, that's on you. All I'm saying is, before we dismiss something, let's do all the history on it. Outside of the bias that we may have with each other because of wars. Our ancestors, our early ancestors, they were too close to each other, too close to these wars to really be able to come together because of things that happened through these particular wars or these misunderstandings or whatever you want to call it. But we got to go back into history and find out when our people were great and find out what were they doing. We come with these names. Yeah, we come with these names, but we don't know what they was doing. And still, Mr. Bush, a lot of us came in Queens, we were shipping goods all over the world. I'm talking about straight off our lands or our farms and shipping all over the world.
Facts.
We stopped doing that. We got to figure out why. And when we was doing that, what did we call ourselves then? That's all I got to say right now.
I appreciate you, Brother Darvis, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If y'all in here rocking, man, y'all enjoying the conversation, drop a fire emoji in the chat, man. We're going to move on to a couple of brothers that's been on here waiting as well, man. We got Morlicious, man. You're going to mute yourself. You got the floor to build on the title of the topic at hand. Go ahead, Morlicious.
Peace, what up, y'all? What's going
Peace
on?
and blessings.
Hey, so let me get this clear. The topic is, are we Indian or not? Or I just want to be clear before I start talking. You hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, he talking about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I just feel like we all of them shit, man. Like I don't see what the big debate about is. If we this or we that, I mean, once we start going back to the science, we already know that that one is all. And I just think we really got to get back to the sciences. Like we can sit here and argue about what we is and what we ain't all day, but it does matter what you are, what you call yourself. All that matters. But like, what do we actually know how to do now? Like, can we build those systems that we was using back then? Do we know how to irrigate, water systems and use the rivers and the streams? Like, can we get some free electricity around this motherfucker? And then also, I don't never hear nobody talk about buying no land or nothing like that. Like, once you got your land, it don't matter. None of these laws and shit don't matter, bro. Like, niggas could have been put together and had like nice little 10, 20, 30 acres of land and do whatever we want to do. That's all I really got to say. I'm down here in the
Yeah,
south.
but that land thing about land though, man, you gotta remember now, when you buy land and you buy in a particular area, these areas are zoned out. So the government can still dictate
Hold
what
on,
you
man.
do in your land.
Don't start boxing yet, man. Just let him get it off his chest first before we start boxing. Let everybody get theirs.
Yeah. Everybody stay muted because everybody stay muted. We getting around to everybody opinions and understanding pertaining to this topic. Go ahead, brother Morris. You got it. Morlicious, you got the floor. Are you done?
Yeah, he had landed.
Oh, yeah, landed. Oh, Hanu Kiel. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hey, that's one of them conversations, man. We about to get into the free smoke in a second, man. Shout out to Hanu. You got the floor pertaining to this topic, brother.
Peace, 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 peace. Peace to all the Aborigines, North, South, Central, and the conjoining islands. Peace to all the gods and all the goddesses. As far as this term, you already know how I stand, right? As far as the term more, nobody never pushed that shit down nobody's throat or whatever. People view me, if people don't like what I play on my platform or whatever, they can go to another platform. I teach what I teach. We've been teaching this whole Indian shit, been all the way from the Micmacs all the way up into Canada, all the way down to Florida, all the way from Florida, all the way to the Mississippi, through California, through Detroit, through Chicago. We didn't already then explored all of these different tribes and nations, Iroquois Confederacy, Title 25 Indian, Alaskan Indian Act, Indians not taxed, the Constitution, the motherfucking UNDRIP, the ADRIP, all of this shit. We already done went into all of this shit. So at the end of the day, once you start studying these people and you start studying, finding out that these people had science, we had structure, we had metallurgy, we had science of masonry, we had a number system, we invented numbers. Now you got to start connecting that shit where you see it elsewhere. So when you start seeing shit elsewhere, you start seeing buildings in Florida that looks just like the buildings we see across the seas, right? And in Mexico and in other parts of America, not less with the same science that we hearing that's over there. And then we get in other research that's telling us that we left from here when wasn't nobody else on the planet. Then what else would you come up with the conclusion of? You can't keep saying the same thing after you start getting research. Now, I'm sorry if some people don't research. Like, they get stay. Everybody, what I hear now is everybody talk about their family. Most motherfuckers can't stand their fucking family. That's the reason why they live hundreds and hundreds of miles away from them. Everybody, go back to what your family was teaching you, and your family got the key to who you are. If motherfuckers wouldn't like their families that much, they wouldn't be as far as away from them, right? Now, even when we get into this mongoloid shit, 2-3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, half these people in this community thought they was descendants of mongoloids. Half these people thought the white man came here and enslaved them and did everything they did. Now, this shit is only coming from certain individuals. Now, all of a sudden, it's common to everybody. OJ Dunn and all this other shit. All this shit is common, but there's only certain individuals who put that shit out there. So it's like, when A1 talks about the Native American history, everybody love A1. Oh, A1. But as soon as I start crossing referencing that with my research with Moors, everybody hates me. And then what people do is They gather their little communities. They try to do the separation thing. We already going Aboriginals against Indian type shit. All of this shit. Show the definitions. Oh no, that don't mean that. Still, we're still stuck on the same thing that we hear everybody else say. I hear everybody in this community regurgitate the same information, and I don't have to ask you what you know. I ask you what you know, and you tell me everything that you don't know. So when I talk about any of these particular terms, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know the North African conversation. I know the Arab conversation. I know the Spain conversation. I heard all them conversations years before people was even claiming to be an Indian. So when with my information, the people who fuck with me, they rock with it. And if you don't fuck with my information, that's cool. I don't have a problem. I'm not sitting down telling nobody who they are or what they are. But I can tell you this much. At least 70 to 60% of a lot of this shit that's being gurgitated out here, it came through my platform. If it didn't come through my platform, it came through somebody who was on my platform, or it came from somebody who I'm associated with. That we have these conversations, not just on YouTube, but off of YouTube. Now everybody know we built buildings and we lived in cities and we wasn't slaves and the white man was slaves. Nobody was talking. That shit is only coming from certain conversations. And even the conversations that you're hearing from, a lot of them conversations is coming right back to A1. Now, I don't need nobody to put respect on my name. I'm going to do it myself. And people know who I am, regardless of all my research. Whether it's I deal with the Lord shit, you already know I do the Lord shit. I deal with all of that shit, the history. I deal with the mystery part of it. So at some point in time, even if you don't rock with any of these terminologies that I may say, don't disrespect me, because I don't disrespect nobody. At the end of the day, I give everybody respect. People call me on the phone, answer the phone call, we talk, whatever. And even some of these niggas who be on these platforms, when they get on these platforms with other motherfuckers. So at the end of the day, like I said, I'm not gonna ask you to respect me or whatever, but I ain't gonna be on YouTube making videos about people doing none of this clown shit. I don't have time for that shit. At the end of the day, that's it, AP.
Appreciate you for coming on, bro. Hanu Kiel, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We got 282 in the building. Let's get a few people to support the channel, man. Moderators, drop that link for the brothers and sisters that do want to support the channel because they're feeling the energy and the vibes. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to all the American Indians, American Aborigines, FBAs, Moors, and all the Aboriginal indigenous peoples across the fucking planet. Hey, man. Nonetheless, you got the floor pertaining to build to the topic. Let's get it.
Okay, yeah, I'll make sure I stay on topic. You know what I mean? What's the topic? No, I forgot what the topic. What's the topic, yo? I just want to make sure. I kind of know what the topic is.
The title says we are not Indians. We are more than that. And everybody.
Oh, okay. I heard what everybody was saying. Oh, peace, everybody. What's up, everybody on the panel?
Shout out to Baltimore in the building.
Everybody, yeah. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Nonetheless. I'm here and there. I kind of enjoy the dialogue. Everybody had great points, But I think that when you say you're Indian, you got the right to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that people just gotta respect other people's viewpoints, and that's pretty much the whole thing in a nutshell right there. So when you look at I think people use the Constitution and the wording that's in the Constitution for defense, and justification for calling themselves certain things, but they don't understand what the Constitution is and how it's formed and why it was formed and what you have the right to form in order to protect your rights. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of look at it from a viewpoint of my study. And when you study, you got to understand, you got to be very careful of these people that came to this country that tried to deceive you. You see what I'm saying? So if they put your name inside of a document, does that make me a beneficiary to them? Because you don't put my fucking name in no document giving me no benefits. No, I give you You know what I mean? I give you the rights. You feel what I'm saying? So anything that I lend to you, you owe me. Don't act like I fucking owe you something. That's the offense that I take when a foreign document puts my people in their shit. You see what I'm saying? So that's the way you're supposed to look at it. Like, what the fuck you put my name in your shit for? This is for you. You ain't come over here to benefit me. You know what I mean? What my ancestors laid down benefited you. So any labor or anything you don't that you say I give to you through the Fifth Amendment, you ain't give me just compensation. If you saying I'm taxed, nigga already know that shit. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it from those eyes, because these people will try to put you in a position where you are lower than them through some trickery type of shit. You know what I mean? Now they got ways to switch it, put them in a higher position as a trustee, and then put you as and then make you a beneficiary to their actions. But nah, because we all know that it's illegal to tax any fucking body anyway. They not supposed to do that. So when you study the Constitution and you enforce it correctly, that shit don't apply to you anyway. You know what I mean? And they flipped the name and made it their property. You understand that these entities and names are people property. Who property is it? You know what I'm saying? Is it yours or is it theirs? Because it's in their document. You know what I mean? That's what people gotta be careful with. Anybody, if you didn't write it, if you didn't put it there, that means that somebody else is laying claim to your shit. You know what I mean? How many times you get junk mail and a motherfucker trying to say that you owe them something? Did you write that or did they write it? That means that you're claiming something that they wrote on your behalf, and you're now taking the responsibility to repay it. You know what I mean? That's why I give props and I respect people that create their own shit, their own body politic, and they give all the other people the right to claim it as well. Like if I had something, it's open to everybody because that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? So I think people got to look deeper into what's going on, stop falling for the deception, and always put yourself in a higher position, and don't allow nobody to tell you what they're not going to do or what you have when you already have it. You know what I mean? Because there's no fucking limit to what you did. Your labor, like I always point out, they always try to make a minimum wage. There is no such thing as a maximum wage because nobody can put a price on what your ancestors done and what you done. Is unlimited. You have unlimited power, unlimited money, and you can name your price if you know what you're doing. So there's no such thing as taxes. That's bullshit. That's all I gotta say, bro. Peace to the gods.
Shout out to you, brother. Nonetheless, man, I appreciate you for coming on and giving your perspective pertaining to the topic, man. It's up, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. It's a dope live stream. We got everybody in the building. I want y'all to hit that like button, share the live stream, make sure y'all support the channel. All right, man. It's free smoke, man. Anybody can get it in. Oh, matter of fact, I ain't even get the chance to get to my man Smoke Signal yet. I'm gonna allow Smoke Signal to give his understanding and build to pertaining to the topic. Let's get it, Smoke.
Salute. Shout out to the channel, to the panel, and to the chat. Power to the motherfucking people, man. Hey, each one of these articles that you ladies and gentlemen are delivering here today brings up additional questions, man. I think this is why we find it so difficult to unpack this shit. We be on one topic, but the topic is so, I'm saying the topics be so convoluted. The topics be so convoluted that it's hard to pinpoint a single issue involving the topic. Now, my initial question was referring to this Indian identity thing. would this identity be the first inclination as to niggas losing their autonomy? That's my first question. Yeah, I'm introducing the smoke now.
Can you ask that question again? Because I was wanting you just to, we ain't got into the question part yet, but I just wanted you to just to real pertain to the topic. But if you do have a question, can you please repeat it and direct it to whom you want to answer it so it won't get jumbled around and everybody try to answer it at once?
Well, I'm gonna ask you: does the title Indian give the inclination as to when niggas was first starting to lose their autonomy?
I'm under that understanding. I'm starting to, that's what I'm starting to realize as well. So
Me as well. I think so
Okay,
too.
well, if we're basing any of this on the documents and we understand that the Constitution is supposedly the supreme law of the land, I like to refer us all back to this insertion, right? Which we know today as the preamble, and see if it can be determined if this applies to you. Now, the preamble starts off: "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." To me, that don't resonate. That don't seem like how my motherfucking people is talking now or was ever talking in the past. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all this shit sounds foreign to me.
You
I'm gonna
can't
land
use
right there.
a smoke. You can't use the United States for America. You have to. I mean, well, the United States of America. You have to go back to the United States for America, and that's before the 1870. I think 1872 or something. Sometime in
1872, yeah, that's
1873.
when it was
That's
signed.
the Constitution for of America. You got to go back and read the Constitution from I think that's 1776, and then it's another one from 1776, and it's one more Constitution. I gotta look it up. I got it on my computer though.
You
But you
can't
got
find that one though. Hey, I want
now the
the
one
one that say
I got it in the
the
file.
Constitution
You got
for
it in the
America
file. I
now
got
is
the
it.
one
is
the one where Indians not taxed in it. But see, understand this, right? Now, even with these terminologies, right? People see these terminologies, and me myself, like I fell victim to a lot of that shit too, right? Not understanding what these terminologies mean when it come to law, right? So even like using a lot of these terminologies, the best thing for anybody to do is to look them up. Just because you thought you was a Negro the majority of your life, and now they give you a term, they giving you a term and putting you right back under these people rule. Whether we believe it was a doctrine of discovery, we still know that through secret societies and through a Masonic rite that these people have some type of religious of affiliation with the citizenship dealing with the United States. So, the best thing for anybody to do at this point in time is understand what the terms mean. Look up the terms and see which term that best suits you and go with that one. You don't have to acquiesce to no other terminology that nobody's saying. But best believe when certain individuals say certain things, certain individuals have a certain insight and certain acknowledgement about a certain terminologies that most people ain't privy to. So if you want to look that Constitution up, smoke, look up the older Constitution, the one that they using that says Indians not taxed.
Well, you know, honestly, I don't believe in any of them. Inorganic, organic. I think it's all, to me. This is my opinion. I think it's all some bullshit. I don't think any of these contracts, trust agreements, whatever you want to call them, I don't think any of them ever been honored by the people that was meant for. So I'm saying I don't apply none of this shit to my reality. But go ahead.
The best thing you can do is enforce these people. Not even enforce what they giving you.
I'm not gonna say that. Like I said, I say this all the time, y'all. There's different ways to skin a goddamn cat. There's no one set way to go about it. Some people lean towards this way, taking the legal route. Some people be more the rebellion route, about action, standing on business. You understand me? So it's different ways to get through this solution. There's different solutions, man. People provide them all the time, man. You got to look at some of these ancient nations. Some of these other nations never signed treaty agreements, who still got the respect of that of the people. Seminoles went to war with the United States of America. Never signed no treaties.
Somebody signed
Right.
one for them. They sure notified one of the 5 civilized tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, the word United States and of means off. Of comes from off. So that means that the United States is a foreign jurisdiction. That's why it never was a state, it's a district.
Yeah.
That handle international agreements, state to state. So that's why you got the federal government, because if you have a problem with another state, the federal government comes in and negotiates any issues as far as boundaries, you know what I mean, international commerce. If you look at most people that get locked up, if they go across state lines, that's when that's what the feds come in, right? And step in and say that you went across state line. You understand? That's the United States right there. Even if you go and that means that these states are what? Countries. You know what I mean? These are different countries. So you if we had a body politic that was handling our disagreements, then none of this shit would exist, which means that we couldn't get along. You know what I'm saying? We was having issues, and they stepped in, was like, hey, well, how about we just be a neutral party and handle y'all agreements? You know what I mean? But you got this motherfucker over here talking shit. Oh, I'm not this. Same thing we doing now. And now you got these foreign motherfuckers, you know what I mean, coming in, handling our disagreements. Because we don't know basic concepts. We don't know basic principles of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And nobody wants to sit back and learn and listen and pay attention and think. Oh, wait a minute. Damn. You know what I mean? This is what we need to do so we can get these motherfuckers out of here. Nobody is willing to work together, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because they doing simple shit. How are we going to leave anything to the next generation when the generation before us evidently made it so we can get to the point where we are right now? So we owe a debt to our ancestors for getting us to this point, to the next generation, before we lose them. You know what I mean? How can we communicate with the next generation if we don't write shit down? Because they can take all this shit off the internet. If we don't leave them anything, leave them no principles, leave them any lessons. You see what I'm saying? How's our word going to travel?
See what, you know what I noticed though? I noticed, and not me though, I'm just saying I noticed that there's a defense mechanism built up for these documents that lends us no defense. And that to me that's perplexing. Now let me ask you a question. In what jurisdictions that you can name offhand, not foreign related, where eminent domain cannot be utilized? See, it'd be this type of shit. It'd be this type of shit that I wonder about. And we talking about how supreme these documents are, but we don't find these documents being able to address our motherfucking issues as a people.
Eminent domain.
Unless we jump through some multiple motherfucking hoops change our goddamn identity, try to retrace some steps that was all left in blood, and niggas don't even really want to address the fact that the most of the trails are left in blood. We think we can overlook that step and go straight to the paperwork that was probably formulated in retrospect. But you know, I'm gonna land right there, bro, because all I see is smoke with this shit.
Let me
Hey,
ask you a
Smoke.
question, though, Smoke. Let me ask you a question real quick, right? So look, all right. So the paperwork no good, right? So even when you take the fight back to them, you ain't gotta take the fight back to them with a sword. You take the fight back to them with a pen, right? And even when you enforce it, right, it works. Okay, yeah, you might get some pushback, and the people who you get pushback from the most, it be your own fucking people. Anytime you submitting any of these declarations or any of this legal documentation that's going to basically confirm that I'm not an African American, that I'm not Negro, I'm not colored, I'm not black. This is what I claim, and these are the so-called things that y'all agreed upon that you was going to acquiesce to. You enforce it. So a lot of stuff is enforceable, but see what happens is with a lot of us is when it don't work because people is not really pushing the shit the proper way. And like I said, we shouldn't have to, but hey, it should if it was just as easy as we just running outside saying we Indians and then just everybody like, oh shit, you are? Okay, all right, well here. It doesn't work that way. You still gotta push. They still created a system that was basically put put to classify us as colors, to classify us as Ward of State, as Civitim Motus, all of these so-called terminologies, and you have to go back and correct that moving forward before you go ahead and before you try to get any of the other benefits to you being the only American here. Now you said eminent domain, right? Eminent domain only work with United States citizens. You are the American. So how can the foreign corporation that's of your land have more dominion over you than you have over them? So once you understand that you are the only American and these people have a contract, right? That can be rescinded at any given time if people realize who they are.
Yeah, I understand the concept and how it's supposed to work, right? I do understand that, and I understand how it's written and how it's supposed to apply. But we're not finding that in the history. We're not finding that in the present. What we're finding is that we're on a gradual decline. Yet these documents still exist. To me, that's just perplexing.
Well, we was aboriginals all the way up until the 1960s, bro. You know what I'm saying? All the way up into the 1960s.
And what culture was that besides Indian culture? Because is that on a culture or is that on a status where we need to be trying to reach to because we're not being recognized?
What's your status
It's a
now?
status.
What's your status now?
My status is Negro.
Okay, so you admitting you have a status though, right?
Yeah, I used to pledge allegiance in the 80s. I pledged allegiance to the United States of America. I did all that dumb shit.
Yeah,
But
nah.
what I'm saying is this, is that what can we go back, since we're going back in time, where at as an Aboriginal, what kind of garbs, what kind of culture, I mean, what did we have to make us, feel superior besides this Indian uh uh label that we using at that time, that shows colorful feathers, around the head and ornaments. But that's like the last 100 years of us adopting that name, taking on Indian that we use practicing a certain way, looking like a certain way. Just like how Christianity, to tell a Christian, you can just look at it. He carries a holy Bible. A Muslim, you would see him carrying a Quran. So we know how to identify to certain people like that. But we need a culture. I believe we're in a culture shock right now.
Or are we in a
Nah,
status?
we ain't in no culture shock. It's people who listen to the wrong people who teach this is in the culture shock. We wasn't running around here with no feathers and all that shit that they show you in movies and that they make under the cognitive meaning of what an Indian is, bro. That's why I say to myself, like, you know, if we had science, we show that. We had inventions and technology, we show that. We show the history. Okay?
So what would look fly for us right now as a whole people that we should be wearing and having to show our expression of who we are, to be identified, to be recognized as that's those Indians right there. They separate them is not native, them is not no Puerto Ricans, them is not no Cubans, them is not no Jamaicans, them is the original people. Look at the garbs they wearing. Look how they carry themselves. What do we need to have to make ourselves higher than what we've been carrying ourselves as?
The same stuff that we got the whole world doing now. All of the fashion, the gold.
They didn't took that.
Well, they didn't took everything.
They
all
can
the
have it all,
signs
but we can renew.
Okay,
we can
but we gotta
recreate.
part of recreating though is understanding your history. If you don't understand what your people was capable of, you know what I'm saying? That's why I say certain people, you know, when we get on these platforms, want to talk about the remedy, right? And what's the remedy to everything, right? Without even knowing the history. You
That's
have
why
to
I
know
feel
the
what
history.
AP talking about.
You got to know the history. If you don't know and the history is just not the history that they put out there in front of you that's easy to get access to. So they put information out there to where you can just Google some shit and then you can find some shit. Nah, that's not research. That's called searching. You know what I'm saying? They give you information that's easy accessible at the tip of at your fingertips or right
I
for
feel
you.
But I feel empowered. I feel empowered every time I say Aboriginal. Just me knowing what I know, the truth now. I feel so empowered that I don't worry about none of those misnomers. But I know that if you call me black, I know now I can sue your ass. You calling me something that I'm not, and you calling mental anguish.
Hey, bro, hold up, stay right there because when you talk, I'm gonna tell you what most people's status is. Most people's status is status quo. All right, you niggas just going with the flow. So when you understand that them niggas ain't steal shit from us, that gold is still out. This land is still out. Where the land go? It's still here. What they steal? So when you get in the mentality that all this shit is yours, and you start telling these motherfuckers, like, look, I know you playing game. I ain't playing that game, this identity game.
Oh, the
Yeah,
hide
you
and seek.
try.
Hide and
Yeah,
seek. They done hid our shit from us.
see, I
It's
want
still
motherfuckers
here.
to understand this about me. Nigga, I don't play them games. Nigga, I go in there and you tell them motherfuckers like, look, that anything you got from this land is mine and my ancestors, and you owe me this. How much? Oh, damn, that's a pretty big bill, Mr. Nonetheless. Yeah, it's $100 trillion, nigga, and y'all could never repay it. So how the fuck I owe y'all anything? You don't name me, even though you try to use something called a vassal or transmitted utility as black color, nigga, I don't play them games because guess what? You owe that black entity name, you owe the Indian, you owe the Moor, you owe all these motherfucking names that I own. I own those names. So stop being subservient to a word. I don't give a fuck what you call me. All I know is that I'm the god of all those entities, all those names,
What you
all
got?
of them are ours.
So how do we
Hold on, let
stop
me say
taxation?
something. Hold
How
on,
do
let
we
me
stop
say.
taxation?
Go ahead,
Hold on,
dog.
hold on, y'all. Let me get some balance back in. I'll let y'all get it in for a little second. Shout out to all the American people, man. I want to say special shout out to all the American people in the chat. Shout out to all the Aborigines across the planet. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's the Aboriginal uprising, man. So y'all know what's going on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure y'all support the channel. Shout out to Sister Bethy for supporting the channel with the Cash App donation. We have Sister Bethy actually on the panel, y'all. So make sure y'all show my sister some love. Shout out to Roger W. Shout out to Gregory Smith. And shout out to Von Moore. Shout out to Von Moore. Shout out to everybody that supported the channel, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Don't be the only ones that support the real. Support the real. Y'all know what's going on. We got Bro Sanchez on here with us. So let's get it in, man. What's going on, brother Bro Sanchez?
What's going on, Big Aboriginal Power? Salutes to you, the chat room, and to everybody on the call. Yeah, I'm just here, you know what I'm saying? Happy to be vibing with y'all Aboriginals, man, today, and I'll speak my piece whenever it's my turn. So appreciate y'all for letting me be here.
Yeah, man. I think everybody really pretty much had the flow. I don't know if Jaguar got a chance to get it in. Shout out to Jaguar Omac. What's going on, big brother?
Yo, yo, man. Salute, man. Yeah, man. Hey, just popping in, man. Y'all know how we do, man. I know it's been a lot I've been hearing the past few weeks, man. I've been seeing a lot of changes too. Like I say, man, me personally myself, man, I try to keep up with, what's relevant and just try to participate, however I can, man. Trying to keep up with all the information everybody putting out, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, I don't watch everybody channels, but when I do get a chance, you know what I'm saying, I check out stuff, man. And I don't know, with me, with these terms and labels, um, I mean, I think y'all pretty much done cleared it up with all that. But I mean, to me, man, when you really, if you really involved with your family, then I mean, it is what it is. Like everybody should have their own story and their own unique way of explaining their lineage. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody on the panel ain't related. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm pretty sure everybody not related to every person on a block. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, not saying like your family ain't around, but I know my family around in my area. I'm pretty sure people got family close by. You know what I'm saying? And if your family ain't ever mentioned Africa, ain't ever mentioned Europe, ain't ever mentioned Asia, none of this stuff, man. Like to me, it's really just keeping it simple as that. You know what I'm saying? What you want to call yourself, that's on you for your journey. You know what I'm saying? Some people feel comfortable with being called black, and that's fine. And these people might just be taking care of their family. They might be actually helping people. They might actually, got something going on as a black person. So with me, you know what I'm saying? I think it's more so what you agree, and what you consent to with anything. And I think that's what none be saying, A1, you know what I'm saying? He says it in a way where, you know, he give it to you from where he learned from. You know what I'm saying? If you got a learning style of when you get your research, always giving reference to who you get your research, where you get your research from or to, I salute that. And I ain't got no problem with anybody doing that because, you know what I'm saying? Anybody can pick up a book and learn something from it and source it. But I don't like when people say they don't like books, but then they'll actually show another book or say that, hey, I'll write my own book. Or like it's like to me, stuff like that is kind of like, it's misleading in a way for you to say, okay, you should only be listening to me and nobody else. And we all know none of us, even on this panel, know every damn thing on the planet, man. Let's just be real. But we do put our shit together and utilize information that we can share with one another. And I thought that's what this thing was about anyway. But all of a sudden, it fell out of line with people getting in their feelings, people antagonizing people, bad business moves, bad business deals, all this crazy stuff, man. I ain't trying to be long winded, but to me, that's where all this stuff come from, man. And I'm just keeping it real. Now you got people who saying they ain't want to hear nothing about 1,000 years ago. They ain't want to know no information 1,000 years ago. But now they going to the pyramids. Or now they trying to, bring up research from 1,000. It's like, and this is what I be saying, you just got to sit back and watch, for those who coming in new and really trying to see what's going on. Ain't no need of trying to speak up if you really just trying to get yourself together and put the puzzle of the pieces together. Just sit back and watch because there's a lot of confusion going on out here, man. People taking people topics, people taking people logos and all type of stuff. I don't, so to me, man, I mean, You know, I just think we just got to be more mature and more honorable with each other. You ask me, man. I let it rip,
Right,
man.
we got to be realists, man. We can't be stagnant within our information. And metaphorically, in all religions, information has been metaphorically connected with water, and it's very, very, very intelligent for, because stagnant water, it can be no longer useful for you. If it doesn't have a constant motion to it, it becomes tainted. It becomes what you call stagnated water. It becomes infected. It doesn't cleanse you like you need. So the information must be the constant flow to it to keep it fresh, to keep it where you can be conducive and useful to your body of consciousness. So yeah, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. This is a dope panel, man. We're gonna get to the smoke, man. What's up, Mauro Sanchez, man? I'm gonna let you get to the floor pertaining to the topic. We are not Indians, we are more than that. That's the topic. So I'm gonna let you get it in, man, and get it in, man. Let's go.
A lot of our a lot of our brothers and sisters, what they do, they just say, you know what, we everything. It ain't nothing we're not. And if there's something that was, we was that first. Right? Now, I like that mentality. However, I don't agree that we every damn thing. I like the attitude to say, nigga, I claim your shit and master your shit and make it mine before I join your movement and be a member as a what we're saying is we want our own exclusive groups. So if a black person decide to be a Buddhist, instead of them having the mentality, well, I'm gonna follow the Asian man and the yellow Buddha, the black man said to himself, fuck that, I created Buddhism, and he made his Buddha black. Now, he might have been wrong. He might have didn't create Buddhism, but he's protecting his soul. He's saying that if I'm gonna participate in these alternative cultural practices and spiritual practice, I'm gonna make them mine, so that I don't become a spiritual slave indoctrinated under another culture's ideology. So even if I practice that culture, I'm gonna black paint that shit. I see that happening. I see that happening. And I think it's a natural mental defense mechanism that's in our subconscious. But with that being said, when we say we're not Indians, there's a lot of group of people with our skin tone, look like us, who say they are. There's a lot of people who say that we're black people. And then I got my Moorish brothers saying, you ain't black, that's status. Then I got brothers telling them, well, look, you ain't Moors. You know what I'm saying? So we got a bunch of our people saying we this. You got a bunch saying we not this. But no matter what we say we are, I think that maintaining our exclusive ownership over no matter what practices we partake in, it'll keep us united. So if a brother's saying, look, I'm an Indian, if a brother's saying, look, I'm a black man, black power, if a brother's saying I'm Moorish, man, or I'm Kemetic, or I'm Pan-African, I think that at this point, the only way the people are going to unite is if all of us have a separate title than any of these spiritual ideologies, that we put all of those under this one big ass umbrella.
Right.
That's the only way I see that shit happening right now, realistically.
Yeah, and you have to have your own separate titles. Like when you look at, let's just say correctional officers, a firefighter, ambulance worker, you're looking at these particular people in different uniforms. They work within sequence and cohesiveness and harmony within each other based off of understanding the job and their attributes based off of their uniform. We must be in a proper uniform, and this is what we're simply defining. And as we define us as American or Aboriginal, if you will, and in our proper uniform, we're just highlighting some of our attributes that we have seen that either is accustomed to either being borrowed, or they have like-minded thinkers that think like us across the globe. So these are the conversations that we like But yeah, man, we more than just that. Every term that we hear, we're all connected with it, but it doesn't truly define who we are based off our attributes, our creations, and our innovations over time.
May I intervene? I have been sitting quiet.
Absolutely, Sister Beth. You got the floor.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Part of my laundry, I wash my grandbaby clothes. Okay, so here's what I want to say. I'm making a statement and respond. Okay, and sticking with the title, we are not Indians. Okay, fine, whether we are or whether we are not. One of the main reasons why I'm saying that I am the Indian that they speak about is because in history books, Ab and fellas, the history that took place and what they're teaching and what society knows as to what happened to the Indians happened to my people. I said, wait, that's us. So this is why I'm offensive when it comes to that title Indian, because that title Indian has a history behind it. It has a history that says this land was taken away from the Indians. That happened to me. Calling yourself African American or Black has a history behind it. It says that they got you from Africa. That's not me. The history and the faces of the people that they're saying what happened to Indians, they're putting it on these mongoloid looking people. And we know that not to be true. I know the history that they talk about that happened to the Indians in the Americas happened to my people. So they have to be talking about me. There's no history that states that what happened to the Indians happened to the African Americans, happened to the Moors, happened to all these other titles, happened to the Black. They're saying it happened to the Indian. So I'm sticking to that title because we have proof of everything they said that happened to the Indians happened to our people. And I think that's probably my biggest reasonings for claiming that identity, because all the other races that they have for us, it didn't happen to nobody but the Indian. But it happened to our people. So, okay, you're talking about me when you're talking about that Indian. But I relinquish my mic and maybe y'all
Hey,
can help me there. Help
hey,
me out.
Sister Betty, you understand this,
Hold
right?
on,
You
hold on.
right?
We're gonna
I'm done. Help me out, y'all.
shout
Oh
out
yes, right.
to Sister Betty. That was some heat, and I know everybody wanna really get to that conversation, but I'm gonna allow Haru the Copper. Let me see what the full name is on here.
Copper colored God.
Yeah, the Copper Color God. Shout out to you, brother. You got the floor
Hey,
to the topic. Go ahead, brother.
your
You
mic
got
Hi,
is muted.
everybody. Oh, it's okay. Peace to the panel. I want to jump in because the Constitution is something we need to look at, and I want to just make it clear why we are sticking to the Constitution. Everybody knows, and we have talked about. Right now, this corporation is the big dog in the house, right? They have all the military power, right? We're not going to come up against that. We all know this, right? Okay, so how do we deal with that Constitution? How do we deal with that corporation? It is through the Constitution. We can be whatever we want to be after we deal with that Constitution. So the Constitution says there are Indians and free persons. That's it. You want to come in as a Moor, you're coming in against the corporation. Are we ready for a war? This is my question. All y'all dudes on the panel, y'all got your guns? Is your family packing? Does everybody have a license? A license? Okay, so how you gonna go at this? You're gonna go by the Constitution. That's what you're gonna do, because that disempowers them. That gives you the right. That gives you the right to stand up and tell them what they're going to do. Otherwise, they're not hearing it. That's all I want to say. I'm really tired of this. It's a stupid conversation. It's a stupid conversation. We have a constitution for a reason. If we be whatever you want to be after you deal with that constitution, you're going to be an enemy of the state if you don't deal with that constitution. That's all I got to say. I'm not fighting with nobody. I got to get back to work. Thank you, Air Power. Peace, Sister Bethy. A1. No, peace with you too, brother. But I got to go now. Okay.
Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Copper Color, man. Appreciate you coming in.
Can I respond to that?
Dropping a bomb, man. Absolutely. I'm allow you to briefly respond to that. I'm pretty sure A1 want to respond to that. And I would like to add some clarity to it as well. So go ahead, brother, nonetheless.
No, well, what I wanted to say is in the 60s, right? Remember the civil rights bill? Most people some people did research and they realized that was called the Indian Civil Rights Bill before they switched it to some Negro shit, right? So that's already proof that the Indians and the Negroes have parallel reality. See, that's the game that I don't like that they playing on us, man, because they will switch these entities and piggyback off of this Negro, colored, black, knowing that it really pertaining to the Indians, but they trying to act like these Mongoloid Indians was here first, so they don't owe, because they know they actually foreigners. So if they prove that these Mongoloids was here and not the real people who are really the progenitors or the people that was aboriginal to the land, they don't owe them anything. You see what I'm saying? So that's the whole issue right there. They're playing hot potato with the real people to say, oh no, these people are Indians, but we know they're not. So therefore, they know they're not. Now we don't owe for being on the land because the people that they're saying is the Indians, you know what I mean? It's not the real Indians and shit. You see what I'm saying? But if we admit that these niggas is the Indians, we are fucked.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
That's exactly
what's going on.
When I was getting to. Now, I'm not saying nonetheless that those Mongoloids ain't the Indians. They are, but of South America. You brought them over here to fool the world to say they're the Indian. No, they're the Indian, but of South America. They don't own our North American shit. Is what I'm saying. And I'm just tired of it.
So are you saying that they own South America?
Well, they're mixed. Okay. When I see Mongoloid, it's a Spaniard and a Negro. That's the Mongoloid I'm talking about, or mulatto, or however you want to call it. Now you have the
Mongoloids I'm talking about are Asian looking, but like that's
mixed with, but that's not an Aboriginal. The Asian looking one is mixed with the Spaniard, the Spain people. That's a Mongoloid. I'm sorry, I had it wrong. The Mongoloid is the Asian mixed with the Spaniard. But then you have the Mexican that's mixed with the Negro and Spaniard. And you have the mulatto that's
so
mixed
Mexicans are mixed with Negroes?
Yes. I showed the video every day almost it's like my intro. There is a Mexican guy that works in the fish market and he tells you, no, my ancestors are Negroes and he's from North America. He says it. That's why I show it. A lot of Mexicans are mixed with Negroes. And that's a fact. He got Negro features and he said they treat him bad in Mexico. That's why he's here working, because of the color of his skin. The Mexicans that look more Spaniard got the power. What they did everywhere in the Americas. But he got the hair, but he got our complexion and my features. So I just say Indian because the story that they have in history behind what happened to the Indian. I'm like, oh, well, you're talking about my ancestors, because that's exactly what happened to my people. So I'm the Indian you're talking about, not those Asian looking people. That's bullshit. It didn't happen to them. You did not take this land from Asian people.
Is there other people on record that's getting benefits as Indians right now that's not Negro stock of people?
Yes, all these fake $5 tribes. But
are these fake $5 tribes under tribes that so-called Negro tribes are connected to? like
No,
Choctaw,
and
Chickasaw, Cherokee,
the
other.
problem with that, when the Negroes came back after giving up their tribal rule at power, when they went back, they said, "You come in as a freedman." They gave them a new title. So yeah, you're Cherokee, but you're a Cherokee freedman because you're a prisoner of war.
So they
And
became
so the
prisoners of
white
war with
citizens,
their own
they're
tribe.
with their own fucking tribe because the citizens rose up and took over the management of the tribe, just
Who
like
was
with
these
the United
citizens?
States. White people claiming to be Cherokees and Chickasaws and Choctaws, all the people that look like me
In
and you
17
are
in
listed
17
as freemen.
in 1773, right? As the Chickasaw and Chickamauga are banding up with these particular citizens, right? What? Tell me what nations these whites are citizens of?
Um, they were citizens of when we had our own government before we gave up our tribal rule. We went off the reservation and into the inner cities.
Like right now, we're citizens of the United States, right?
Right,
Under somebody else's dominion. At one point in time, it was Indians running shit. Went to
right.
war and citizens. What these particular citizens were citizens to, not the United States, because it wasn't the United States. Then to what nation?
All of the Indian nations because they worked for us. So and now it's flipped. They worked for us originally. So when they won that case in court at power, those Cherokees, the tribe, because the white people took over them now, said, all right, we're gonna let them go back on the road because the court ruled that they got to give them benefits. So they let them enroll, but they said we'll enroll you, but with no blood quantum. So all the people that's freedmen, they're not allowed to have their blood quantum on the rolls because what it would do, it would show that they're full bloods. So the white people got their blood quantum, the 1/8, the 164, the 132. But when they let them, after the court decision, back into the tribe as freedmen, they would not allow them to have their blood
So
quantum on the one.
it was other Indians that was allowing these citizens to have, I guess the same operation and benefits as the Indians.
Yeah, because they
And
had a
then
voting system just like the United States.
and then
You vote them in.
later on became the Indians. Then made the real Indians, not real Indians, but freedmen
Facts.
Indians.
Facts.
And then later on started controlling the tribes, made you a Negro, and then later on a colored, and then later on a Black American.
Yep.
Is that what I'm saying?
That's what they did.
I think it stems
Listen
from
there.
the hospital.
If you look at their instructions, and it'll tell you that they let the freedmen in, but they would not allow them to have blood quantum on the rolls. Because if they did, it would show who the full blood Indian was. They say you come back, but you're not no blood quantum. That's fucked up.
May I say this though? I believe that the
Sorry,
transition happened during the time that we was born in the hospital, because I had brought this up to my mom, pointed out to her about the birth certificate having a corporation on it. She was shocked. So it's a lot of mothers out here that was born that had children in these hospitals, got misled documents. They didn't understand what they were signing, and they signed us off. I said, Mom, you sold me into slavery, basically.
Good afternoon,
Yo,
Copper Color Grizzly.
Peace and blessings, brother. Alabama, the Alabama in the building. What's going on?
It's your world. I'm just a squirrel. And I want to agree with pretty much 100% of all the positions that I heard, but I wanted to work backwards from Sister Bethy. And thank you for Queen Mother. You went straight to the topic, as it says. We are more than Indians. Whether we are or we are not, you just did a little thing, you and AP, about name changes. And those changes of states and names and labels, etc., show how we are more than, as your topic is saying, AP, that we are more than Indians because we are all things and we are none of those things. And so I'm bouncing between Brother Sanchez's response about people who believe we are everything and all. And then at the same time, we're none of these things because they were brought to us by others. You feel what I'm saying?
What about the brothers that say we started all this stuff? You would disagree with them, correct?
Well, that's kind of all these answers to these type of questions, Brother Sanchez, is yes and no. Well, I'm trying to answer you. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, one more thing to the question.
Let me answer that, bro, Sanchez.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think we say. Well, a lot of people do say we started it all, but we can simply say that no, we didn't start it all, but we did start a lot in various different places. You see what I'm saying? And brought a lot to different places.
But when you're saying we, AP, the term we operatively is claiming that anyone who's either a Negroid phenotype or supposedly all people on the planet were melanated.
We American Aborigines.
Okay, see, that's where I was going and trying to answer his question. Now we're talking geographic boundaries. You feel me? Because see, there's some, and this is part of this dilemma here, that's under this black crap, or saying everyone was melanated. There were dark-skinned people over the entire globe at any point in time. And how far back are you talking
we
about?
all black people too, though, Alabama. Do you concur that we all black people?
Well, what do you mean with that connotation?
I had
See, when you're saying the word adjective black, hold on.
I'm
The
saying
word adjective black.
Our people identify as black. When they say
we're
black
identifying
people,
as black through a certain consciousness. Well, but see, okay, that's what I was just about to say, AP. We're identifying with a word through a certain consciousness, not in its descriptive manner or what the connotation of black is. Here's the whole confusion with this particular point in our development as an oppressed people or as prisoners of war. We are constantly being referred to by others. And then we're trying to define ourselves by what others think. And then we're acting accordingly to how other people are creating the boundaries of how, quote unquote, black people should be and how they should interact, particularly in context with so-called white people. You see what I'm saying? And that's a trap. Then you go and you do this extrapolation of saying anyone who has dark complexion, and you can go to Asia, you can go to Africa, you can go to Middle East and Arabia, etc. You can go anywhere over the planet and find people with similar phenotypes, maybe, might have the nose, might have the lips, might have the skin tone, but they have absolutely nothing to do with us, culturally, individually, or our experiences. You feel me? When we go to this situation approaching what we're going to be unified for, that was really where I was headed with where I was going to, my comments were, why we can't come together. Now, whether we use the word nigga or we use the, appropriate publicly N-word so we don't sound to be offensive, most everybody on the planet agrees to use that either in our face or behind our back, and is tagged specifically to a unique people who have all these other confluences of different labels: Negro, colored, black, mulatto. Now it's Black indigenous people of color, American descendant of slave. I can go on and get into probably at least a dozen characterizations, right, AP? But who is that specifically tagged to? No other people on the face of this earth. None.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say about that word nigga, naga, they want to demonize that word today too, and make it to where he called me the N-word, but one thing that I was researching is that we literally called each other the N-word before they did. That was a term of endearment before it became derogatory, naga, nagini. And I think that they trying to ban that word on purpose because of what that brother just said. If you notice, right, all of our people will call each other the N-word. So that ain't none that we disagree when it comes to a title or identity, right? But what if that was the umbrella word that connected us all that I was just mentioning earlier? But with reverse psychology, they made us not want to call ourselves what we really are. So, for example, like if you go up to a Mexican that just came across the border and be like, how you a Mexican? You know, psychologically, the Mexican may say, no, I'm not a Mexican, I'm an American. Like I got my car, even though he a Mexican, if I fuck with him and make it psychologically on him, like reverse psychology, like, you a Mexican, bro. He don't even want to be a Mexican no more. He will argue and say, no, I'm an American now, man. I got my, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's
see,
just
Brother
a thought that
Sanchez,
I'm throwing
that
out there to say
that's a
that
geographic boundary that causes what we claim today to be nations. You could say that about a Canadian, you see? But you can also go below Mexico. Then you got Central America. What's the so-called nations that have been carved up on a piece of paper called a map? But none of these land masses have moved. The maps have changed due to colonialization. It has never come from the frame of reference of the people who actually physically lived there before being invaded. You see what I'm saying? I'll give you a good example. This problem we're listening to, not just because they're trying to attach African origins to us, and there's nefarious intentions of all these agendas, okay? Almost all of those 54 and counting countries on the African continent, none of them are the boundaries that are on the map today, and they have dropped tribal people who are opposed to each other. Some actually hate each other to death, and putting them and combining them together in an artificial area that's being called a geographic boundary and then being declared to be a nation, right, Brother Sanchez?
Yeah, I'm tracking with you.
None of that was done by the people that was put upon, correct? What's the difference in that and the 50 states that have been created and drawn on a map by the foreign colonizers who invaded our Aboriginal ancestors, who are continuing to impose their will on us today without our consent? And then we're spending all of our discussions, even today, about which label is more preferable to be used when none of it comes from us. And I want to circle back to why we have a problem of unifying.
Can I speak to that? Because you're right. We spend a lot of time on what we are versus how we are. And you can call yourself the goddamn shitheads and be doing good in the world. So I think to that point, like it don't really matter what we call ourselves versus how we move. I think sometimes how a people move will give them an identity, because your identity will be in your method of operations, your MO. But I'm gonna fall back. I agree with you, Alabama, and that's a term dealing with Alabama. That's the state I'm from. Salutes to that.
Well, since we are both born there, here's the thing. My point is, someone drew a line around what they're telling us today is the quote unquote state of Alabama, which is an interesting word. You know about the states of existence in water, for example. If it's frozen, it's called ice. When it is liquid and moving, like Brother Big IP said, it's flowing like a river or a creek. There has current to it that is keeping it from being stagnant and collecting bacteria. We call that the liquid state. And when it is now evaporated, whether it turns into clouds in the air or we see it steam out of a boiling pot, it's now called a gaseous state. S-T-A-T-E, correct? Now that's a very simple example of that's all H2O, isn't it? So why in the world I'm listening to a fool tell me whether I'm a Moor, a Hebrew Israelite, a nigger, a Negro, a colored, a African American, mulatto, whatever, it's now going to change, fill in the blank today. I am still H2O. In other words, I am the original Aboriginal. There's none before me. We are the most ancient and antiquity on this place called terra firma, Mother Earth, or Turtle Island, because some have said Turtle Island was not just the Americas, North, Central, and South. Turtle Island or Gondwana or Pangea. You feel where I'm going with this now? You feel where I'm going,
Yeah,
Brother
there you go.
Sanchez?
Turtle Island is the world. There you go. I'm with you on that.
So when we keep being confused by others putting their opinion on, because that's what these labels are. You feel me? You have two individuals, individual A, individual B. Individual B comes after A always in the alphabet, correct? Now B comes upon A and gonna try to call A an Indian. A still was there before B discovered them. Does this shit sound familiar? You're not going to see Christopher Columbus. You see what I'm saying? Now, why in the hell, Brother Sanchez, we can't keep the conversation simple as ABC? A is always going to start the conversation, right? And A is Aboriginal. For the moment, AP, Copper Color Grizzly, I yield the mic.
Hey, one thing I want to say, if it's okay, it'll be like
You got
15
the
seconds.
flow.
Yeah, the Turtle Island concept, also just some side facts, was a Hindu concept. The word Indian comes from the word Hindu. The H is silent. It's the word Hindu, but they turned that into words like Indonesia, India, and stuff like that. India ain't a nationality, and it ain't really dealing with a geographic area. It's a spiritual system. Now, the spiritual system of Hinduism come from the Indus Valley or Indus Valley. And we could talk more on that word India and get some knowledge on it or whatever. Not saying, like the brother was saying, I don't care about the titles, whether you call yourself Indian or not. I just wanted to share some information on the word. But thank you for that interjection. I'm going to fall back.
Well, I think maybe within the symbolisms of what we call Buddhism could be simply giving you a geographical location. Especially when we get into Buddhism. Buddhism deals with a spiritual system that a lot of those particular people, Buddhism, and that was birth. They gave birth to a lot of these particular thought processes. And who they symbolize in culture, who gave them birth or gave birth to Buddha, right? Or to that concept, name is Maya, Guatemala Maya. And when we get into Guatemala and we get into the Maya culture, which is direct particular area, I believe that it is signifying a geographical location.
But brother AP,
Hold up, my brother. Of course, you can find geographical areas where we find these spiritual practices at. But I was just saying the spiritual practice itself don't belong to any one of them areas, AP. It's a universal practice. That's all I was saying.
That's a very interesting statement you make, Brother Sanchez. The problem with this, and anything that's packaged as religion or belief, it is divisive. It's not unifying. And so,
hold on.
We ain't dealing with religion or belief right now.
Let me say this right. No, my bad. I didn't mean to cut I might be on a delay too, by the way, you guys. I apologize. Yeah, no, but I think it is really signifying the origin of gave birth. And why the reason I brought up Buddhism, and it is used universal, and a lot of these cultures is, and we get into the traveling and the borrowing and the mimicking of cultures that's suitable for those people. But when we get a particular aspect of, just for instance, where we're talking about Buddha, we can go along with other religions, and I make my connecting factors as well. But when we look at some of those cultures, the defining metaphorical symbolism of giving birth is ultimately the origin of something, and I believe that's defined within the name of the particular woman that's credited to giving birth to Buddha, which is the mother of Buddha, Guatemala Maya. And go to Guatemala Maya, and you find Maya and Olmec culture, you find certain images that is overwhelmingly significant to those particular areas that we call Hindu today, or Hindu.
But see, AP, what you did with that example was to show a correlation where there can be proven through antiquity. It traces back to what is referred to as North, Central, and South America. Now, what I'm trying to say, for an example, whether people respond to it or not, is the unifying principles that we need to consider so that we can squash a lot of this beefing and arguing over labels. The reason I brought up the N word, whether we say nigga, Niji, Naga, or whatever, everyone on the planet is using it derogatorily and tagging it only to the specific people, as I've already defined, and we've done this on this panel discussion today, that has multiple racial designations and classifications specific to denigrating and putting us in an oppressed position. I don't care who they are, what nation they originated from. They are not migrating all over the planet to somewhere else other than our doorstep. They all get here and agree to treat us like shit. And we can't seem to just clearly understand that so that we can have what I believe is a unifying response. If we can understand that no matter what other label that we have put upon us, these people are all agreeing to be our enemies. And if we can't come to clearly understand that, we can't coalesce around a strategy and an appropriate response. And I
got you, Alabama. That's some good shit, though. I appreciate you, but yeah, man, let's get it back in. I want to get back into my little steel, sharpen the steel, and that's what I consider this amongst you brothers, because we're like-minded and we have the same understanding. We're just now getting into the particulars, which a lot of the brothers and sisters want. Some people will be able to get into, and some of us can't. But we're some of the few that can. So we're gonna dig into some of the particulars and have some of these. So shout out to everybody in the chat that's enjoying this. Go ahead, brother Sanchez. You got the flow, brother.
Yo, yeah. Hinduism predates Buddhism and all of the religions that come after that. It starts off with Hinduism. Well, really, it starts off with Jainism. But Jainism is like the original spiritual system for the Indus Valley people. And then you go into Hinduism. And then from Hinduism, you start getting these later religions like Buddhism and all that. But see, the mother spiritual system would be Jainism and Hinduism. Later on, all of these ancient spiritual systems became what we call modern religions. And that's when they stopped serving us and started serving our enemy. When they came into contact with our people on this land in North America, they saw statues that were sitting Indian style in the meditation position. The Olmec heads, all of them, we weren't Christians. We were into meditating. We were into Hinduism and Jainism. And we were into the science of out-of-body experiences. But that's neither here nor there right now. I'm just throwing some research out there for y'all.
Hey, Brother Sanchez, real quick.
I concur with you. Like I said, Jainism is just another spirituality system to which, like, we can get into some of the ceremonials which mimic Jainism, even within Inca cultures, mimic on some of the murals, all the way down to some of the psychedelic ceremonies. And we'll get into some of those psychedelics that was used during those particular ceremonies for particular things. Yeah. I'm saying it's an introduce of a particular culture. So when we look at certain cultures, we can start to find certain aspects like artifacts that is found. This is what takes and takes this particular theory of connecting correlation and we add different factors onto it. So what I'm saying is it's a global connection, not by just natural understanding. Not saying that it wasn't civilized, but certain civilizations in a particular area was more advanced, and they took their show on a roll, and they took particular things to certain regions, and them things still exist today, given the fingerprints of the American Aborigines.
Hey, real quick.
Facts, man, facts.
Bro, at the end of the day, right, I want to sum it up from what I gathered from what's going on. At the end of the day, you were talking about a culture of identity theft, bro. And if you look through, especially in the ancient text, especially in the Bible, right? As far as I'm concerned, the Bible is nothing but a science to identity theft, bro. People walking around pretending like they're someone else. That was perfected in India, actually. If you look at India, no thug, Those Thuggies, because what's the name of that goddess? That's what I asked. If you know anything about this Sanchez in India, is a goddess with all those arms. What's that called? Shiva or something like that that they pray to?
You talking about Mama Callie. Hold on, we getting some feedback. And did okay, yeah. So yeah, you talking about Ma Callie. She's representing the ethers or the netters.
Right, but when I looked at the Hindu culture, it was these people called the thuggies that was stealing people identities and naming themselves after the people on those trade routes. You see what I'm saying?
Mama Callie's followers was called thugs. That's where we get the word thugs
right.
from.
And they were stealing people identities, right?
Nah, they were soldiers. They was fighting on behalf of Mama Callie.
And one of their similar moves was to put their knee on your neck. So that's a good symbolism.
Yeah, talking about how the police do today, that knee on the back of the neck.
Yep.
Now that's not ritualistic. That's a tactic and a strategy, and you just showed how ancient it is, AP.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat asked a question, which I would like to consider in the context of the title. Yeah. We are not Indians. We are more than that, as AP presented to us this afternoon. How do we reverse mass hypnosis? Now, all the discussion still, even up to this point, and thank you nonetheless, because I kind of agree with some of what you just proposed as well. It is, again, I can't reiterate enough, things being brought to us, back to us from others. So, AP, you just pointed out an example, whether it's Hinduism or Buddhism, that originated here, correct? The example that you told, and again, that's depending on how you want to approach archaeology. Hold on, Brother Sanchez, I'm making a point, then you can respond to it. Whether agreeing or not, the dating, the antiquity, the archaeology, which is being done mostly, if almost exclusively, by foreigners, and particularly certain Europeans with agendas, not by us. The people who arguably can be proven are the direct descendants today from the original antiquity. But we're still here like dogs chasing your tail, following other people's agendas. I don't care what the organization, I don't care what the religion, I don't care the political party, I don't care what the label is that gives people who are lost and confused a reason to join it. I'll put it to you this way as another example. On another panel discussion, AP, there was a discussion brought up about a particular person who ironically may be a descendant called L. Ron Hubbard of the DeWolf family that was one of the most prominent and supposed successful slave traders and owners of people as property. L. Ron Hubbard has created the Church of Scientology, and some would say rumored that has swayed the minister, Louis Farrakhan, and the Nation of Islam to be attached to them. Now, I'm not saying any of this to cast aspersions or to denigrate the minister. I'm using it to point out my example. Doesn't matter what the group is, or even in this case, this man literally created a religion out of science fiction, because he was also a science fiction author, but he changed his name so people wouldn't be able to associate him with slave owning ancestry. You feel what I'm getting at, AP? Now, the people that are either being members of the Church of Scientology, or have read his books, as I have, because I'm an avid science fiction reader, can be led to believe and follow this individual who is leading you down a course of continued oppression and being owned by others. Now, how do you extract a person, according to, I think it was Jan Renee in the chat, said, how do we reverse mass hypnosis if we are more than just being Indians and we're not claiming any and all of these things? And I yield.
Okay, what I wanted to say was kind of all over the place. I'm here to teach about the word India. You said earlier we don't care what we shouldn't care. Okay. Hold on. You said earlier we shouldn't care what we call ourselves. And I agree with you on that. That's why I've been stopped talking about titles. When we say that we are not Indians, we are more than that. You can replace the word Indian with any word, and that title will be true. We're not black people. We more than that. We're not even humans. We more than humans. We spirits. Guess what? I can replace that word Indian with any word, and that'll be true. But that's what I said. That's why I don't play the title game. I'm more concerned with how my people are than what they are. I said that earlier. I just want to be clear on where I'm standing here. I'm not debating. I'm over here sucking up all the information from all of y'all and just trying to drop the little Jews that I know about the Indus Valley civilization where Hinduism originated from, the Indus Valley.
And let me say something. Can I say one thing? Let me say something to that.
Just 1 second, though.
Hold on, Alabama. Everybody stay muted. I'm gonna let A1 get it in. And like I said, this is a dope conversation. Please, I will come to each one of y'all by name and let y'all get it in. I know everybody want to respond and get it in. This was just a, we having a back and forth. It's a good dope conversation, man. And like I said, we like to hear the other perspectives and information and drop. And this is what about connecting these particular cultures and peoples and dynasties and shit is, man. That's what we do, man. This is Aboriginal uprising. We just like to focus in on Americas a lot, but we uprise and talk about Aboriginal cultures all around the globe. But yeah, man, let's get it. Go ahead, A1, you got it.
All right, peace. So for us here in America, right, we the one who got the identity crisis, because people in Africa don't have the identity crisis. They're actually the ones that are so avid with who they are and what country they came from in Africa. We're the ones here that been told we came from Africa and we were slaves. Okay, so when we get into the term finding out we indigenous to this land, we're trying to find some identity here on this continent, not everywhere around the world. We know it was black people everywhere, but for some reason, all these black people outside of America, they have a different reality when it comes to who they are. Now, for us here, even dealing with the term Indian, right? Now, the brother said, he mentioned Hindustan and the Indus Valley and all that. You know, I heard that conversation before, but when it comes to the term Indian being applied here, and they telling you Columbus came here and he thought he was going to India, that's all bullshit. They know exactly where they was coming, and they know exactly the terminology that they apply to the people. They apply to the people here on this landmass, and they refer to the Indians, which was originally Nino, N-D-O, children of God. Then it went from N-D-O, E-N-D-O to I-N-D-I-O to I-N-D-I-A-N-E-R to I-N-D-A-A-N to Indian. And now we're calling ourselves Indians. Now, regardless of whatever the terminologies are, when I'm dealing with it, because I'm saying me, because I hear a lot of we. I'm dealing with myself first. If you haven't classified or declared who you are individually and you're waiting for somebody, then I don't know what you're waiting for. But when it comes to me personally, just A1, okay, not nobody else. I call myself an Aborigine out of being the first from time of existence on this landmass that I call, and others call, the Amaruka. Okay, that's the reason why we refer to ourselves as being Aborigine. Now, never mind who made the term up. It's clear. Those from first time of existence, first inhabitants of this land right here, what we call the Amaruka. With that, I'll land my plane.
All right, man. Shout out to Hanu, man. Shout out to
AP, my response was to him saying it's not what we're called. It's not who we even think and believe we are. It is what we actually are. Now, someone in the quotes in the chat was making a reference to how amor, amore, or the word love. Now, most of us objectively here, particularly when we group together, whether it's cook-offs or family reunions or whatever type of setting, that we come together as a group and we consider that a family unit. When we allow foreigners to come amongst us, we're pretty embracing. We don't necessarily attach ourselves to who they are, where they originated. That's also part of the problem of miscegenation and what's referred to as race mixing today. But when we look at these same people, we find their people disown them. Now, I know there are persons who have this in their individual families and have experienced it. That's one example. The other is now whether we quarrel and argue over that document, the organic, inorganic, the new Constitution you and A1 were talking about earlier is 1871 that created the corporate criminal enterprise. Now, these documents supposedly stemmed from the Articles of Confederation that some are now saying was interaction with the Iroquois Confederacy. It really matters not how things came about to be what they are. It should be easily agreed upon. They're wrong and they're criminal in their implementation today. And everybody who is doing what they are doing is not us, is not from here, and they're trying to convince us we're not from here. You feel what I'm saying, AP? If we can get the message clean, clear, pure, and simple like that, that will hopefully start planting the seeds for those who are like-minded to come to one accord, no matter what their label is, no matter what their family origin story is. If they understand what they are, as Brother Sanchez was saying this way, we are the descendants of the original inhabitants of North America, South Central, or the entire planet. But our focus today is why, and I say it this way, AP, and you know I've said it before, it's just like when I wrap up at the end, it's the last call for alcohol. Your ass ain't got to go home, but you do have to leave Turtle Island, North America, the so-called United States. You have to leave it because you've overstayed your welcome. You were never invited. You have come here and defiled my home, polluted my water, and now I'm almost to the point where I can't breathe the air. But every one of these people that are coming to only here, not anywhere else, not on the face of the moon, though many of them are trying to get to Mars and leave this place, not soon enough for me, they all agree to come where we are the original inhabitants, where our ancestors were here for thousands of years before they came here and shit on us. And agree to set up shop in our communities, whether we call it hoods, neighborhoods, ghetto, or the suburbs. They all attract themselves to a specific people, extract wealth, income, send remissions and money back to where they came from, try to convince us they came from some great civilization, and then indoctrinate us to believe that we are descendants from some foreign civilization and displace us off of our inheritance and then tax us for still being here. Now, if there's anything that I've said in error there, please correct me. And if anyone and everyone on this panel is in agreement with the notions I described, I certainly hope as this conversation comes to fruition that I pointed out how we should be in agreement, and that would be the course of starting unification. And I would hope take some action to eject this foreign presence and get ourselves healthy, well, and whole. And I yield.
All right, man. Shout out to that, man. I'm gonna introduce the new brothers on the panel. We got Slav Noxious. I'm Rob Knox, and we got Knowing, man. What's going on, Rob? What's going on, Knowing?
What up, man?
What's good, bro?
Assholes to elbows. Elbows with afros.
In case y'all didn't know who Rob is, he's a white troll.
I got a question.
You stupid Sanchez.
Do we need to identify as a race of people? Because there's many different nationalities. Like y'all say.
And I yield.
Some people say they Moors, they Hebrews, they Indians, even using names that's not nationality in this time frame that we live in.
I'll tell you what.
But if we go back,
Black American.
If we go back, that's nice. Have a nice day. Well, if we go back in history, like y'all mentioned Turtle Island, the whole, or we go back when the continents was one before the Great Flood. What was the whole earth called? It was called Asia. The land was called Asia. So shouldn't we be coming together and unifying on the Asiatics? Because even in the rap culture, from my study, from what I see, I know it's a European thing, but we have people that start the rap culture, so to speak, or whatever, because the Europeans let them on TV, etc. So to me, it's their thing. But once they was calling themselves Asiatics in the 80s, in the late 80s, they started saying they Asiatics. Then you ain't hear that word no more. Then all of a sudden, it's the nigga come into play, etc. These different names come into play. So shouldn't we be unifying on the Asiatics? Because we still gonna have people say, no, I'm black, because it's a like whoever just said that, I don't know if they joking or not, but still it's a condition. You see, and them names was condition among our people as we grew up, as we learned in our households. The same thing
I did a build some time ago, and A1 did too, on the word Asiatic that they mentioned of, and it is not the way you think it's spelled today, and it's not mentioned in no particular land. The reason why they say the whole world was Asia is not because it was based off of Asia continent as you see it spelled today. It deals with material world. It deals with this particular dimension. So we'll get into that on another note, but we did a whole elaborate build on that, man, breaking it down with the source and it's Intamin online.
So my question is this here.
You want to answer that, bro? Sanchez? Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Sanchez. Hey, Ryan, shut up, man. This ain't the Hillbilly Mayonnaise show. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think to nip this whole thing in the bud about what we should unite under, right? I think what we should unite under should be beyond just a title. And I think we should unite under common enemy. Everybody in this world that's powerful, that hate our people, they join together against us under one thing they got in common. They all want to get rid of us. See, we asking why should we join together? And that should be the only reason. Look, because all of them trying to kill us. Hold up, we got a lot of rumbling from Truthful over there. Truthful, you
my
can
bad, that's my truck.
Real quick.
Man,
Mute your mic.
I got some shit, but I got you.
Everybody keep their mic muted.
Yeah, that's what I'm you know what I'm saying? As a people, we should reunite just under the guise of we got a common enemy. That right there will supersede whether he want to be a Moor, whether he want to be a Christian, whether he want to be whatever title belief they want. All of them know who killing us, right? Okay, let's come together and strike back at the ones killing us. You could still be a Christian and do that. You could see if somebody breaking your house right now, it don't matter if you're a Moor, Christian, none of that. It matters is you prepared for the enemy. We should unite under preparation and preparedness for our enemy, and everybody knowing we got this common enemy. That's how nations build alliances today. That's how nations do. When you go to the UN table, they don't care what the name of your nation is or what your spiritual culture is. They care, do you hate the people that we hate? Then you can be part of our alliance then.
The fact. I agree with that, brother Sanchez.
Absolutely.
All right. Hello, can y'all hear me?
We hear you, Truthful.
Right.
You got the deal.
And that's exactly what the point I was trying to make about unifying about a simple thing that everybody, and I think it's Psalm 81, you can look at it, scripture it says in there, they shall be a confederacy of nations against them. That is not Israel. That is not Asia. There is no people, I don't care where you want to point at on the globe, that the entire world community is going at them. But the problem for us, though, and I get you, Brother Sanchez, I think we're one accord finally on this point. the people that are the target. Have you ever seen a target most time when people going in training and shooting weapons where the entire background is black and the silhouette is white? Very rarely. Mostly you might see a red crosshairs, but almost always you'll see a white background with a black silhouette. That's people all over the world, literally, including the military and the law enforcement, that are being mentally conditioned to put the knee on whose neck. You feel me? Then when they get here, I don't know, some say I'm being a rumor monger or a conspiracy theorist. The State Department hands them a visa, green card, working papers, and tell them the definition of nigga. Turn them loose, and they set up shop in our communities and businesses. And of course, as we are confused and ignorant and a loving people, as many in the chat kept saying, we let these hordes of invaders amongst us embrace them, conduct business one way, and we can't go nowhere in nobody's community and set up shop and get reciprocity. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but please correct me if I have error in my perspectives.
I'm gonna correct you. I got you. Look, I'm gonna put it to y'all like this. You know the old saying, as above, so below, right? God damn. This damn thing here. You know the old saying, as above, so below. I'll tell you this right here. This whole thing has been a fucking game. And they're telling us what the fuck is gonna happen in the future. Right now, we battling this whole African American and American Aboriginal stuff for a reason. The reason being is because we, the people of this land, are Atlanteans. The people who came here and made these dumbass rules and shit are Anunnaki. Let me get on it, all right? Let me put it in perspective. The same way they're trying to displace us from our land here in Atlantis, right? And bring us to Africa, it's the same thing they're doing on a global scale. They're trying to take the people who are native to this planet, Atlantis, away from there. That's why this whole thing is going on.
Hey, Aboriginal Power, drop the link for Smoke Signal. My bad, Truthful.
No, you good. But yeah, this whole thing has been a game. The Anunnaki are trying to come to our shit and take our planet away from us the same way that these people are trying to take our land away from us right now. As above, so below. You can call me crazy if you want. You can sit here and say that you Anunnaki or whatever the hell. But you know what? I'll tell you this right here. The Anunnaki are the ones that are hoarding all that damn gold. The Anunnaki are the one that created this Slavic species, i.e. Rob Noxious. They created them people, and they're trying to take our planet away from us. That's all I got to say. I put that whole thing together because American Flying Lotus Kick-Ass dropped mean heat about the whole thing that we going through. Because when you figure out one thing, then you hear another name. Then you figure that name out, you go through another name. It's too many fucking red holes. That's all I had to say.
All right, shout out to everybody, man. We're gonna be getting ready to wrap this up here in a minute, man. I got another big show later on, man. Like I said, I got the logo, better known as Old World Florida, coming through tonight, man. We're gonna be chopping it up, building with that dude, man. So it's gonna be one of the ones, man. So make sure y'all tap in later on, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, man. 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. So make sure y'all tune in. Smoke Signal, what's up with it?
Yeah, man. I just really, man, I was fighting nail and tooth to get back up here to address the brother that said something about the Constitution earlier, right? When he was saying, yeah, on some lay down, get down shit. Yeah, I believe his name was the God of Haru or whatever, right? And he was saying something about the only reason why the Constitution should be complied to is because it's backed by military. So would that make the Constitution a military document? Mic check.
So, Smoke, are you asking whether the Constitution is a military document?
Right, because he said, right, he gave the impression that the reason why it should be complied to is because indeed it's backed by the military.
It's backed by, you're right.
Okay, let me let me propose something, and people, whether you chop it up or respond to it, okay?
No, well, hold on,
If we're
real quick. I know Al
if I
trying
know
to
Ab
leave,
was
so just
wrapping up, but I want to deal with the Constitution this way just quickly, okay? First and foremost, our ancestors were here before whoever these groups of people we're talking about came. The document itself in the Congressional Record of 1988 says it was based on the Articles of Confederation that was based on interactions with the Iroquois Confederacy. So my opinion, again, I'm going to qualify my statement as my opinion. The document was granted to foreign invaders and to describe how they should conduct themselves on our land. It did not pertain to us, the original people who created it, nor the descendants of the Aboriginal. You feel me, Smoke? So no matter what the confines of the document are, whether it is imposed and implied as a military construct, whatever those boundaries are, it is to the foreign invaders, the colonizers, who do not belong here in the first place. And when I'm giving you the rules of my house, as any parent or grandparent will say, you shut the fuck up and behave accordingly, or I whip your ass, or you go get your own shit. Can I put it simple enough, ghetto hood like that way? So
yeah.
when we're
And
talking
like I
about
said,
the Constitution,
like I real quick, look, like I would always say, I understand those I understand those concepts, but what I'm actually seeing in my reality is that we find ourselves under the people who are under the Constitution. We don't find ourselves.
by
Right.
acquiescing and adopting positions through
Hold
the
on.
labels we've had this entire panel discussion about.
So
So when
are you
one
saying?
goes and says
Hold
they
on.
are a Negro, they are black, they are African American, they are placing themselves under the construct. Now, I'm
See,
not
what I
agreeing or
find.
disagreeing. I'm saying that's what puts you in the predicament that you are in. And when
But
you're
see, this
not
is
cognizant of that, when you don't inform yourself how you have choice, you have options.
what I find. What I find peculiarly awkward is that the document is usually being defended and not the people who actually authorize the document. This is where I find my difficulties at. Because if you saying, hold on,
Are you a member
let
of
me
the
get this out.
military? Okay.
Let me get this out. I know. I understand it's backed by the military, and once you take heed to that, I know once you take heed to that, but we shouldn't be blaming. We shouldn't be blaming taking heed to a military on a document that our people instituted. We ought to be saying, look, we just gonna bow down to this military strength, and it ain't got nothing to do with no motherfucking document. It is gonna be what it is, or it ain't gonna be what it ain't. I'm just saying you can't have both realities existing. Is it the document or is it the fucking military? What are we concerned about here?
Okay, now, not to exclude you, my good brother, but having been in the Navy and am a veteran, all people, and you don't have to be in the military, by the way, less than 1% of the population actually serves. And you may make it expanded to 5% when you include police, law enforcement, and those type of agents. So 90 to 95% of the population never participate in the military or in law enforcement. But they all swear to defend the Constitution, not the people. So people who are operating and functioning under federalism, and included the states because it rolls down to the state level. But the document we're talking about is what coalesced. I don't know if it was you, Smoke, or Nonetheless, that talked about crossing state lines. It may have been Nonetheless earlier in the conversation. That's where federal intervention comes in, because we're talking about 50 separate nation states, not states of the federal entity. And that's what the original Federalist Papers discussed. It discussed the difference between independence, and I won't use the word sovereignty because I think people misconstrue the word. They try to give to a government a status that is only to a live being. So the governments on the state level and the federal level are not sovereign. Only the people, the live beings, are sovereign. And only we, the descendants of the Aborigines, are the only true sovereigns on this land. But everything that is being imposed upon us, you are correct, Smoke, in your observation. It is military rule. You are also correct that the Lieber Code and General Order 100 of the Civil War and Abraham Lincoln, we have been under constant martial law. because he was shot in the back of the head and never overturned the general order, the Lieber Code. Are you familiar with the Lieber Code, Smoke? So all of the constitutional behavior of every supposed president, I would argue, that was selected, not elected, because it didn't pertain to us, and we didn't institute the person that we're putting in charge over the operations that's supposed to constrain foreign invaders that are over here operating amongst us, running amok like a virus in our body politic. And we're so much under assault and attack constantly, we can't heal ourselves and let our immune system repel the foreign substance. You feel me, Smoke? So
Right.
keep
See,
your
that's
sword,
getting,
keep
to
your
me, that's
sword
getting,
sharp, brother. Keep your sword
right,
sharp, because I'm not
to me,
disputing
what you're
that.
saying, right, look, to me, what you're saying right now, what you just articulated is really getting down to the bones of the whole subject matter, really, because I'm saying bypassing the documents and going right to the core, which is the people. And I'm saying, who are the people? And also I'm saying we need to evaluate the Constitution, despite all the other codes, USC, UCC, Admiralty, you know what I'm saying? Because those are
All of
not
that
being,
flow, all of
right,
that flows
look,
from that
I'm
document.
saying, right, I'm saying all those are not being asserted as a supreme law, but the Constitution is. And I'm saying we the people need to put the goddamn Constitution under trial. I'll land my plane. I'm
And
out
not
this
only are
bitch.
you correct in
Salute.
saying it should be put in check, because it should be put in check. We should be understanding how we operate and conduct ourselves. That's the point that Brother Sanchez was making earlier. It's not what we are called, it is how we behave. Okay? And until our mindset is clear, and that's why I keep stressing identity theft and identity crisis specifically is the number one problem we have. We have all these names and all of these designations and racial classification that has been enacted upon us because we're confused as fuck. Now,
Okay,
until
that
our
was
mindset is corrected, we won't behave accordingly in a fashion that might be conducive to what you support, good brother.
okay. That brings up a separate issue, and I know Al Power trying to leave. But if it's predicated upon behavior, are you now insinuated that the Constitution was established because of the way we were behaving?
No, again, remember our
See
behavior,
how
our
it always
hospitality.
gets it
I
always gets
got you, Smoke.
confusing when you're
I
trying to
got you,
deal with the
Smoke.
core issues. But go ahead. I'm
But
out. I'm gonna
I
listen
got
to
what
you.
you're
I'm out.
saying, Smoke. Remember, we were extending ourselves to foreigners on our soil, and as people who are hospitable, you invite a wayfarer, a wandering person that's on the pathway to existence, and give them shelter, a meal, and if they need, we're such a loving people. On many occasions, we give the shirt off our back. Then the snake and his behavior exhibited itself, and we have seen uninterrupted snake like behavior, criminality, and outlaws in our midst. And we're so much under attack and assault from all quarters, it's causing chaos and confusion. And that's where you see us at each other's throats. That's where you see us quarreling over who's what's in the name, what group are you from, can I trust you? But at the same time, all the people around us who have shown themselves to be the enemies to us, we're being more trusting and accommodating to them than we are looking inward and trying to see who amongst us needs to be weeded out, who amongst us can be seen to be like-minded, and who among us is behaving to protect our babies, grandbabies, great-grandchildren, so that our posterity, as outlined in that document, we should be doing these things for our future legacy and posterity. That document does not pertain to us first, but it does outline for us how we are being violated. The people that fall under the confines of that document are all foreign colonizers. I don't care how long ago or how recent they stepped their ass off a boat, plane, train, or automobile. They are not from here. They have overstepped their boundaries. They are not welcome, and they have now turned themselves into a viral infestation that is harming us, and it will ultimately kill us because all parasites kill their host until they can find a replacement host. Now, Copper Color Grizzly, whoever that Slavic bastard was that wanted to try to besmirch my title and my quote, abos and arrows, elbows and assholes, because it's going to be applied with my sharp sword like smoke signal. Keep them running, Copper Color Grizzly. Keep them running. And I yield.
Hey, peace and love. Thanks for having me, Big Aboriginal Power, and salutes to all you brothers on the call and in the chat. I'm looking forward to the next one. Appreciate it.
Hey, Sanchez.
Yeah, you already know.
Sanchez.
Yeah.
Sanchez.
Uh-huh.
This Michael Young, man. I want to apologize for the words I had on your show, man, for that brother. But he overstepped himself.
Oh, it's all good, man. I appreciate that though, man. Hey, I'm looking forward to you on the next show, man. Joining. Salutes to all of y'all.
All right.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to everybody in the building. With that being said, man, we out of here. Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines. It's your brother Aboriginal Power.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God